He is like the main name.
Bill Clinton was never on the island.
He told you this?
Many times. He was never on the island.
He's on the flight log, though, isn't he?
Listen, he was on the planes.
But never went to the island.
Never. Epstein ain't worth
$107 million.
He ain't worth $17. But if you got a bunch of pictures with people pissing on you, nude, and orgies, now the real question is, would Epstein have ever really pulled the trigger?
Rob, you're not going to go any lower, are you?
No, that's...
Is that what I think it is?
He's got an elevator button, it looks like.
He's got an elevator button.
I'll tell you that guy on the left, I want to be him. That guy needs a fucking holster.
Honey, John Morgan's talking about your dangling, and he was actually very complimentary. No way, babe.
You're schlong.
You're schlong. I want to know what's going on with Disney. Are you suing Disney, or are they suing you?
Here's my goal with ads.
Okay.
Every ad I do, I want it to be so great that the viewer rewinds the TV to watch it again.
We watched this already a couple times.
Right. Because when you first watch it, you're like, how the F did he get away with this?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to be sued. So that's what I want. I call it purple cow. So when the Steamboat Willie IP ran out, that would be a purple cow moment.
Commercial.
And guess what? They're the same people that fucked with my brother Tim when I was 19 years old. I came back. I didn't forget. I'm like Trump, retribution.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm supposed I could take sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
Bet David.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here. You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about it.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Something could happen, yeah. All right, so we're getting started. Today, guys, every once in a while you can use this word. We don't drop this word all the time. One, because you don't want to over-edify guests if they don't meet this criteria. When you say a legend, my guess is a legend. You know, and you can go anywhere. One moment I tell you, John Morgan, you've seen the ads. The man spent $350 million last year. He's planning on doing $500 million this year. And as you give him a billboard, he wants it. It doesn't matter what it's facing. He wants it. Even if it's in the middle of the ocean, he's going to find some fish and shark and dolphins that got into a fight that he thinks they can represent. Over 1,000 attorneys, over 3,000 employees, I believe, all over the place. Incredible at marketing and interesting on the political side. Obama supporter, Biden, Hillary Clinton, but then Trump. So, and then, issues with Disney and lawsuits with Disney. Just you're all over the place. So we want to learn more about you, but it's great to have you on the podcast today, John.
Everywhere for everyone. That's my motto.
Everywhere for everyone. Okay. So I just met your son. I think you got 4 kids,
yes.
if I've seen it. I do as well. And before we get into all these stories, for someone to go from where you were at to now having this great success story that you have, maybe walk us through how the whole thing happened. How did you go from, wanting to become a lawyer to a law firm to where you have today?
Well, it started when I was a sophomore in college. I got a phone call from my dad. My brother Tim was a lifeguard at Disney World, been in an accident, was a quadriplegic, drove in, hit his head on a thing, and I got called. I went home, and that changed our lives forever. During that process of his injury and his problems, I got embroiled in the whole legal process. We were very poor people. Our mother had already left. Our dad kind of had a drinking problem. I was the oldest, so I was kind of the quarterback of it all. So I got very engaged in his injury.
How old were you at that time?
Sophomore in college, 19.
So you're 19 years old. You're not thinking about being a lawyer.
I'm thinking about being a lawyer because I suck in science and math. So, that was out. Doctor was out, CPA was out, scientist was out, astronaut was out. So I was thinking about being a lawyer, but I didn't know what personal injury was.
Who were you in high school? Like if 10th
Winter
grade,
Park High.
Well, who were you in high school?
Who I was in high school?
Were you the athlete? Were you the debate guy?
I was the treasurer of I did magic at Walt Disney World in high school. I was that guy. I was like Steve Martin.
Got it.
Yeah, I was a magician at Walt Disney World.
Entertaining, personality.
Yes. I was very popular in high school.
Okay.
I was at the cool table.
Makes sense.
And
So this event happens to your brother.
Happens to my brother.
He becomes a paraplegic
He's
because of the accident?
Quadriplegic. And then it all begins, the process.
Got it.
And Disney was so rough on him and so tough on him. And so I got in that process. And the thing about that process, when you're on the other side of it and you're poor and you're helpless and you're hopeless and you're powerless, you can't imagine the frustration. And I became enraged. And as it all went down, I said to myself, I was going to be a lawyer, but now I know what I want to do. So when I went to law school, I knew what I was going to do. I knew I was going to come back and take care of the people like my brother Tim against the corporations like Disney and those type of people. So that's how it all started. That's how I got into personal injury, was my own brother's personal injury. And look, it all worked out for him. I mean, he became a super quad, so he was able to drive a car. He passed away a year and a half ago, unfortunately.
Sorry to hear.
When the doctor came, when I met with the doctor, when he was being discharged, the doctor said he will not live to 30. And I said, you are effing wrong. I got up, I walked out. He lived till 65.
Wow.
But he also came and worked inside my business with me. So every day in my business life, my brother Tim, we ended the day talking about the day. And so it's his injury is the most devastating thing that ever happened to me because, I was trying to manage the medical, trying to manage the lawsuit. But later in life, he came to work with me, and him and his dog would come up every day to say goodbye, and it was a wonderful thing.
That's cool. And do you notice that as a pattern? You made it at the highest level business-wise. You're successful. You're a billionaire. You've done very well for yourself. And you have friends who are at that same level, who have made your kind of success. Do you notice a pattern with a dramatic, like especially not for millionaires, not for decamillionaires or hecto, but mainly billionaires? Do you notice a pattern with extreme amount of pain at a young age? What do you notice with the top 0.0001% of America, which is only 1,200, 1,300 billionaires in America? What do you notice a pattern with them?
Well, here's the pattern for people my age. I've got a new book I'm writing called Life is Luck, the Paper Boy. One pattern I understand is this, especially my age. I'll meet people my age and I'll say, were you a paper boy? And they'll say, yeah, why? I can tell. There's a genetic seed that goes in to the paper boy because the paper has to be delivered every day in the snow, in the sleet, in the cold. You have to get up and do it. Warren Buffett was a paper boy. Oprah Winfrey was a paper girl.
Wow.
Walt Disney was a paper boy. Have your viewers Google famous paper boys. So I think the one pattern is there's a genetic entrepreneurial seed. You have it. I could tell as soon as I walked in, I'm like, this guy, I don't know if you had papers, but I guarantee you something when you were 11, 12, 13, you were hustling something. I don't know what. Today, everybody's on YouTube and coding and all that. That's the new paper route. So that's the one thing. And then the next thing is what I wrote a book about called You Can't Teach Hungry. There is something inside of you when you're poor that I talked about, that helplessness, that powerlessness, that hopelessness that makes you hungry. And it can't be taught. You can't, like your guy that I met coming in, the comedian, you can't teach funny. There's certain things that cannot be taught. And that's the pattern I want. Usually there's an entrepreneurial bent. Mark Cuban, we're pen pals. We talk all the time. He was selling like trash bags door to door. His brother was a paper boy. And so those are the things that I notice most.
Hey, Rob, can you pull up the list you just pulled up, which was very interesting, guy? Benjamin Franklin, paperboy. Thomas Edison, paperboy. Eisenhower, Truman, MLK, Saranov, Joe DiMaggio was a paperboy. Yeah. Walt Disney was a paperboy. Buffett, paperboy. Tom Cruise, Bob Hope, John Wayne. Who else you got there on the bottom? David Simmons. Very interesting on the paperboy.
It's unbelievable. How old are you?
I'm 47.
Okay, so you might be too young to have been a paper boy. I don't know. But I don't know what you did at 11, 12. Tell me.
In Germany, I used to go to the local swimming pool, refugee camp we lived in Erlangen. And the owner of that pool, guys would drink a lot of beer. And I was the one that would go there first thing in the morning, and I would collect all the beers at this. If you type in Erlangen massive swimming pool and you go to images, you'll see it. I saw it the other day. I'm maybe visiting Germany to go see this place. But I was always out there selling, hustling, selling hats, selling baseball cards, collecting beer bottles in Erlangen to buy a Super Mario Brothers at Kaufhof. But there was a hustle in there, always.
Listen, you're born with the hustle.
Yeah.
You're born with that hustle. And it's not necessarily, like Warren Buffett's dad was a congressman and a stockbroker. And so it's not necessarily, but there's that hustle that you can't teach. You're born with that hustle.
Okay, so let's go to the next question, because I'm at a Family Founders event at Goldman Sachs 3 weeks ago, and I'm at a Solomon Partners event last night in Miami Beach. Okay, both of them, they have Dallas had Ross Perot Jr. there, and the owners of the NASCAR family, as well as Emmett Smith and others, and they're talking about G2, G3, G4, and how do you pass the wealth on to the next. And then last night, they had the founder of 1-800-Flowers, the Perry Ellis family, and all these other guys that are in the room. Similar type of a conversation on how you pass it on. The guy that was running Perry Ellis is the son of the founder of Perry Ellis, so it's kind of like, you got 4 kids, and you're a G1. You made the money, and you made a lot of money. So how are you setting up the estate planning and the living trust and the expectation of which one of your kids comes into the business? If one does not, then how do you set it up with the grandkids? Then if they marry somebody else, like, oh my God, I'm marrying a Morgan, so I'm going to get the money. And how do you protect your sons from who they marry to make sure they're doing it for the right reasons? How do you process the entire legacy planning with your wealth?
All right, first, all my children are married. All my children have prenups. In my estate, it works like this. If you don't have a prenup, you don't take under the will.
Bingo.
So I become the bad guy. And every time I tell people this, I don't know how old your kids are, you will remember this, believe me. So you don't want your kid to have to be the bad guy. You're the bad guy. So my kids can say, hey, my dad, my dad. Now, if you don't want to sign it, we're not getting shit.
That's right.
And so that's the first thing. The prenups are fairly tough.
Okay.
Like, one lawyer said this is the most egregious document I've ever read.
Egregious.
I'm
sure you took it as a compliment.
I said by design.
By design.
By design.
Yeah.
And so, but listen, all of the daughter-in-laws, the son-in-law, I love these folks, but I'm not going to have a situation where somebody can come in and, my one son, Matt, said, because he was the first one, he's like, well, Daddy, maybe I put a clause in there that if I cheat on my wife, that is a null and void. I go, no, because we don't need to have any litigation. He goes, I'm not going to cheat. I said, I know you're not, his mother's.
Good question to ask, though.
But he asked that question. I said, let's just get the document signed. So I did that. Years ago, in 2008, I had when everything crashed,
right.
I had everything appraised, and I gave the big gift to them where you could give up to like 24, 25 million. So I did that. I built a company called Litify, which was a software company. And what I did with that, I took Litify and I just put it all, I put 20%, each one of my children, 20% for me. We sold it to Bessemer at a $600 million valuation. We took 60%. But when we sold it, all my kids got the money.
God.
And then I used my 20% to toggle off and pay the taxes. So they took it tax-free. So I've done a lot of things. You got to do a lot of things de novo early on where there's no basis. And then the lucky thing for me is because my sons are lawyers, then they get to take shares inside this firm. And we build new cities, like we're going to open in Chicago. So they get to come in there de novo. So my children make a lot of money inside the law. But I have been that question has been in my mind, even when I didn't have it.
Go one more. So what is then, what are you leaving to them to decide what to do with the grandkids? Because, you hear like the Vanderbilt story, the money only lasted one generation and it was gone, where Anderson Cooper's mom's like, I may be a Vanderbilt, but don't expect Vanderbilt money. It's gone, right? And then you hear some of the Medici family and the Rockefeller family, how they're able to bring it down to 6, 7 generations. How are you processing it for your G3, for your grandkids?
Okay. So the way I'm doing it is this. in our will, when we die, if our kids have $100 million, they get nothing. Because now remember, I'm transferring shares of the firm to them. So they're going to have that. Mm-hmm. They're going to get, if they have 100, they're going to get 100 million, they get nothing. We have an estate, a foundation that we hope to have, a $1 billion foundation, and all of my money is going into the foundation. And so, but some of my kids are already past the 100 million. I mean, some of them are already, they're done. And they're going to make a lot of money. My kids are 42, 40, 38, 36.
2 years apart.
2 years apart. Well, I'm Catholic.
You only stopped at 4?
Well, let me tell you.
Traditionalists get like 6, 8, 9.
Let me tell you the problem. First of all, my wife's a devout Catholic. The rhythm method does not work, especially when you're drinking Jack Daniels on the weekend. So I mean, listen, man. Every time I had sex, I had a child. If I would piss on a rock, there'd be potatoes growing in the morning. So, I'm very potent. I had to finally get fixed because I never missed. But
that's respect.
That's respect. Yeah.
Major.
But I had a hot wife too.
There you go.
So,
that's good.
That helps. And but enough's enough. I mean, we're doing things for our grandchildren. We got the generational trust. A guy down here that we recommend, a guy named Andy Commodore, is our tax guy. And but when they were little, I want them to work. They always had to work. They never got to, sit home. They never got, a lot of people go to high school and they buy their kids Mercedes. And no, mine were driving 8-year-old Navigators and they worked on the weekend, and you got to keep them hungry.
What are you going to do with your grandkids?
I'm not going to, I'll worry about it because the grandkids, the generation 3 is when it all goes to hell in a handbasket. Yeah. And what I worry about is that they have lived, we flew down today in our G500. My grandchildren, they don't, and that's what I worry about because they lead when I live in Maui in the wintertime. Dan just got married in Maui. My grandkids get to lead our life. So I worry about that. But you know what I think about? I was like, you know what? I'll be dead. I'm going to let you guys worry about it. You all handle it. You all give me enough stress as it is.
Is one of the kids richer than the other kid? Is there situations where one's done better, and then how do you manage the competitiveness, the ego, the envy, or the jealousy, if there's any of that?
If there is, I don't know it. I know they're all different tiers in age because, Dan, who you just met, he got out later, and Mike started first. So there is that. But at the end of the day, they all do different things in the business, and some do better than the others. But some deserve more than the others. I mean,
but do you talk about it? Do you say
I don't really talk about it. I talk about this. I just say this about that. Comparison is the thief of joy. You've heard that. That's not my line. I'm stealing it. But I tell them, look, once you get a certain number, it's the same. I mean, a guy who's got 100 million is leading basically the same life as the guy that's got $1 billion, except for maybe a yacht, or some astronomical house. And so it's not, I don't worry about that. What I worried about when I was starting out was that they would never have to struggle after leading the life they lived with me. I didn't make $1 million until 1997.
28 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first year I made $1 million.
Stop it.
No, but let me tell you why. And this is a secret I'm going to give to everybody listening. Because I kept taking all of my profits and pouring it in to new cities. I was making a lot. I mean, I was making.
So you were paper rich, but you were not cash rich.
No. Okay. But look, all that pouring in, this year we'll do, $2.5 billion in fees. Once you catch up, the waterfall is so when I tell people I made $1 million, how? You were 41. I go, listen, because I was doing Jacksonville and Tampa and Atlanta, and some of them were tough. Some of them didn't make it. It took time. So I was really building. So now, we got 7,000 employees in all 50 states, and And I still got some cities that are still in the red. Like, New York City is still in the red. But when I look at what it's going to be, when I look at my inventory, when I look at LA, it's going to be bigger than the core. Although that 2.5 billion, the expansion is going to be bigger than the core, in my opinion. So, and the great thing about that's when you invest in those startups, you get to write off 40%. So if I put 20 million in a city, I only have to put in 12 because it's a loss. So what happens in these businesses, you come in, advertise, red advertising, then you kind of flatten out. You're not feeding the beast. And then all of a sudden you start getting your money back. And then you cross the Rubicon, I call it. When you cross the Rubicon, and that's because I burn the boats. When I go in, I'm burning the boats. That's the river. When you cross the Rubicon, you go from red to black, and then it's just like a hockey stick.
When was that? When was the moment for you where you're like, we're about to make a lot of money? And I'm talking exponential. I'm not talking millions. I'm talking we're about to fly.
Our private company is almost like a Fortune 100 company now. I mean, when you see, I don't want to talk about my net, but it was, the last 9 years just started, and when it came, it poured. Thank God. Thank God.
It's a great thing about business. By the way, Guy asked you a question. What's the difference, John, between what skill do I need to get to 6 figures? What skill do I need to get to $1 million, 10, 100, billion?
The skill you need to have is patience. Look, Warren Buffett, if you take away, Charlie Munger just died. I was reading a thing about him. If you take away 5 stocks from Warren Buffett, he's not Berkshire. But what Warren Buffett will teach you is it's patience. I was very patient building this thing. I was building my business. When you invest, you need to be patient. Index funds, tax-free bonds, be very patient. Instead of playing the short game, play the long game. Because once it starts happening, the power, I started banks in the 80s. And I was, 27 years old. I sold those banks. I turned into Center State Bank. We sold it to South State. I've never sold a share. But when we're building, when I did those banks, the power of compounding interest is people don't understand it. That's why these credit card companies, 1.5% a month.
That's right.
Okay, that's 18%.
That's right.
That's a tsunami.
Yep.
So you got to understand that. But I would say patience. A lot of people want to be rich fast. And you look around and they're driving in a Lamborghini and they got a hot chick in the front seat and they got a big penthouse. And then all of a sudden one day it's all taped up. The Lamborghini was rented. The girl was rented. They had nothing. It was all an illusion.
Yep.
And so I didn't want to kid myself. I've never had one of those great offices. I used to tell people, look, I work in B buildings and I live in an A+ home. I don't need.
I love that.
Yeah, I don't need. An office isn't. I could do it here. I could work here. In Maui, when I built my house in Maui and my guest house in Maui, I didn't even build an office. I just sat out back and watched the whales with the computer and my music going. And
what a tough life.
You don't need, you don't need all that TI and the big rent. No. So I've always been working B buildings, live in A+ houses.
I love that.
But you got to be patient.
Sell me the dream. What are 2-3 possessions you have of like unique things that you collect, you own that makes you feel like you're 13, 14 years old? I own certain baseball cards. When I'm holding them in my hand, I'm back to being 14 years old. What do you have where you say this, letter, from this card or this painting or this car? What do you have that?
Well, one of my heroes in life is P.T. Barnum. And so one time I got a famous autograph from P.T. Barnum. I like that. I got that hanging at the wall at the beach.
That's cool.
I wish I had baseball cards. My dad moved, and I had these bags of baseball cards that I probably could have retired on. He threw them away.
Stop.
I had Mickey Mantles.
Oh, my God.
I had Mickey Mantles with the left bat. I had Mickey Mantle. I had stuff.
52 tops.
Oh yes, I had them all. I had Rubber Band, the whole team.
Wow.
Philippe Alou, Matty Alou,
Old
Jesus,
school.
all of them. I had them all. When I watched that show, Collectibles on
Ken Golden.
yeah, I love
We
that
talked
show.
yesterday. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
Have you guys ever spoken?
No,
or
but I was fascinated by that guy. But I kept thinking, damn, my dad threw away. No telling what he threw away. I said, why? Why do you know? Oh, what are we gonna do with them? So, but the possessions I have, I don't have anything like that. I wish I had those baseball cards and go to see Ken Golden. For me, it's just pictures. It's just moments. This week, I took a picture. I had dinner 2 nights ago in Orlando with Bill Clinton. And
how's he doing?
Fantastic. He was on his way to Jamaica for the hurricane relief.
Does he still have the charm? Does he still have the...
Oh, listen. Let me tell you, we went to the restaurant at 7:30. We left at 12:30. So there was nobody in there but us at the end. I brought Terry McAuliffe. He was with him, the old governor of Virginia.
Terry McAuliffe. Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I said, y'all want dessert? So they go, well, and all of a sudden we get some port and get some dessert, and we close the place.
Let me tell you a crazy story about Bill Clinton. He's the first president I shook hands. I was 15 years old. I was working at Haagen-Dazs at Glendale Galleria, and he came down. He was campaigning for something. And I put my hand out, and he shook me. I'm like, I just shook Bill Clinton's hand. Last year, we're in New York. Rob, do you have this or no?
I'll find it.
Last year, we're in New York, and I take my guys to a Yankees game. Well, it's a rain out. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm trying to find out what date it is. If what's his name is watching, maybe text Vinny to see when we went to what's it called? When we went to New York. So game ends. Game is canceled because of rain. We said we go to this place to go, what do you call it? Bowling. So we go to this bowling alley, and I start talking to Vinny Antikrin. Vinny's a comedian guy that you spoke to.
I like him.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Everybody loves him. And we're outside, and we're inside, and Antikrin and Vinny say, if there's one person you would like to interview on the podcast that you would like to speak to, who would it be? I said 3 names. And the third name,
John Morgan. Who are the other 2?
I said John Morgan.
Let's do 4.
Yeah, I said John Morgan. No, I said Putin was one of the names, but I said Bill Clinton.
Oh yeah.
You ready for this? 5 seconds after I said Bill Clinton, Vinny. I'm looking at Vinny and Tikran this way. They look this way. They say, "Get the fuck out of here." I said, "What do you mean?" Look who just walked in.
Oh.
I look to my right. Bill Clinton just walked in.
Serendipity.
I walk to the side. The Secret Service says, hey, Patrick, I know who you are. Hang tight. Let him finish up the conversation. We want you to talk to him. So I go up to him. We had a good 15-minute conversation together. For 30 minutes, he just walked around talking to everybody. At this age, you've been around him. You've been around Biden. You've been around both of them. Does he seem stronger now? Even stronger than Biden was the last couple of years?
It's funny you should say that, because once we got into the port at Chatham's, I said to him, look, you're Trump and Biden's age that they were.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let me ask you a question. He's got a trimmer in his left hand, and I said, do you think you could be president now? He said, yes. He says, yes, I could do it.
He said that last night.
Wednesday night. And he said, yes. And he said, now, I will tell you, I would have to pace myself a little bit differently. He goes, look, I put in hours. He goes, my staff used to say to me, I'm making less than minimum wage for the hours that I'm putting in as president. He says, I could put in, more than Reagan, but he said yes. He said yes, he believed. And let me tell you something. We sat there for, 5 hours? And we had to finally leave because the staff,
5-hour conversation.
Dinner.
And he was good. He was flowing.
Flowing. Funny, telling all the stories. And I'll tell you what he told me once years ago, and he's been so good to me. One time I asked him, we're headed to an event, I said, give me one piece of advice. Like you asked me a piece of advice. I said, give me one piece of advice. He said, okay, whether it's business or politics, this is going to go to your story. He said, every time you meet somebody, do this. Treat them like there's an election tomorrow and you're running and they're voting. Treat everybody like that. He says, I call that one at a time. So what you saw that day was Bill Clinton one at a time.
Got to give him respect for that.
Yes.
Now, what would you say about his wife, Hillary? The relationship with her versus the relationship with Bill?
My relationship with Hillary? Well, look, I mean, much closer to Bill.
Got it.
Much closer to Bill. But look, I've known him forever and ever. When he was president, I was at the White House all the time. I was at the best dinners. I was up in the, I had the time of my life. And during the pandemic, we were like pen pals and on the phone at night because everybody was holed up. He's been so good to me. And the interesting thing about it, my Republican friends, what they say? Now that's somebody I could still vote for, Bill Clinton. Republicans are good with Bill Clinton.
No, this is it, Rob. Good for you for finding it.
Vinny sent it to me.
Oh, press play? Yeah, this was
going to a bowling alley without my wife.
There you go.
Look at that thing.
It was a fish shirt with a blue blazer and the Ukraine flag.
You can pause it right there. He literally stayed like that, John.
That's one at a time.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. No, he's phenomenal in that area. I read a story one time about when he first ran for office, he had 20,000. Now, this is a second, third story to me, so it's not direct from him. He had 20,000 names that he had collected over the years. He sent cards to all of them saying he would like their support to run for office. And then, boom, he goes and beats Senior. Is he after Senior? Yeah, he beats Senior because that's the Ross Perot pro. George Bush Senior, himself and Ross Perot. And
1992.
And that debate, the way he handled that debate with the lady, an African-American lady, asked the question, so how does the national debt how does it affect you? He crosses his arms and he listens to her and he goes into his message that he gives. The guy is very
And by the way, when he left office, that's the last time we had a balanced budget and a surplus.
Mm-hmm.
He used to say this when we would go to do speeches. He'd say, vote for a Democrat and live like a Republican. That's a Harry Truman quote. But he was.
What does that mean? What?
Well, his deal was this. Everybody thinks that prosperity comes through the Republican Party. Harry Truman's point was this. When you look at big hunks of America where prosperity was really pretty good, Bill Clinton's 8 years wasn't bad.
No, but Bill Clinton today wouldn't be today's Democrat.
No.
You know that.
No. Now, when Hillary was running, I was like going crazy because I'm like, what are you doing? You got to fight this whole socialist movement. Mm-hmm. So I called Robbie Mook up. I said, Robbie, you got to hit back on socialism. And he said, they were getting ready to do the caucuses in Iowa. He says, John, the Des Moines Register that has that 43% of all caucus goers identify themselves as socialist.
Wow.
And so I said, well, forget I called. But no, he would have trouble navigating inside of the Democratic Party today because
he'd be a Republican today.
Well, look, I'm not a Republican, but I'm not a Democrat anymore. When they put the Democratic Socialist at the end of Democratic, because I was a Democratic capitalist, and to me, socialism is the opposite of why we're great.
Why were you a Democrat? When you were a Democrat, why were you one?
I was a Democrat probably because I was a trial lawyer. Because, it was back in the day, Republicans just wanted. Now, look, when we do juries, when we pick juries, we want MAGA. We want MAGA jurors.
Why is that?
They're mad. They're angry. They're ready to punish the man. And it used to be, because now there's basically four parties. Yeah. And
accountability, like from a standpoint of accountability?
Yes. Because they're not. A lot of MAGA are not. They're not rhinos.
No, for sure they're not rhinos.
They're not
they can't
rhinos.
Stand rhinos.
They can't stand rhinos. I don't know what are you?
I've voted for Trump twice, 3 times.
But are you full MAGA? Or are you?
No, I would say I'm a conservative capitalist.
That's me.
That's what I meant. But I also have some independent ideologies as well.
Yeah, like look, I'm pro-choice, but I'm not a socialist. I mean, I really believe there's a place in the middle for people like you. Look, in this state, I ran 2 constitutional amendments, 1 to legalize medical marijuana and 2 to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And everybody's like, you're not, because you had to get 60% of the vote. And everybody said, well, you're never going to get it. You know, you're a romantic. One guy told me, the guy that started Progressive. I lost the marijuana the first time, but then I came back and did it in a presidential year and passed it with 73%. Minimum wage was a harder lift for me because that's a harder issue. And I did it, I phased it over time, and everybody said, there is no chance in hell of this happening. And I passed that with 63% of the vote. Here's what those 2 ballot initiatives told me. Most of us agree on most things when you take the D and the R down. Just, hey, legal marijuana. I mean,
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So I think that, what we really need in America, and I don't know if it'll ever happen, is we need a third party because nobody's compromising on either side.
Yeah.
The thing about a third party, if you had a third party, they could be kind of we'll go this way this time, we'll go that way this time. But, this 2-party system is so tough in America.
You think if Trump ran as an independent, he could have won?
No. You need the apparatus. You need the RNC. Look, Trump.
So then, forgive me for interrupting.
No.
So then what you're saying is you have to choose one of the parties. If you ran as an independent, you won't be able to win because you have to choose one of the parties, is what you're saying.
I think so, unless you're a very special person, unless you're very unique. Like I believe Mark Cuban, not on a national level, but maybe in a state level. I believe, look, once upon a time, Jesse Ventura, the wrestler, became the governor of Minnesota. So it can happen, but you need, could Arnold Schwarzenegger done it as an independent? Maybe. That apparatus, when look, remember when Mitt Romney said 47%, and screwed himself by saying that?
The recording was leaked, the door was slightly open.
But the point is this, no matter who's running, 47-47. It's a jump ball. It's the 6% decide. I'd like to make that 6% bigger if I could.
I think it got bigger.
It got bigger
in the last 5 years.
I asked Clinton one time. I said, "Do you think you would have won?" He takes offense to this, by the way. Do you think you would have won if Ross Perot had not been in the election you talked about?
Well, what a question!
Oh yeah,
great question.
Oh yeah, you know what he said? Yes, he would have still won.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah.
What's his argument?
I forget because I wasn't buying it. I mean, Perot got like 18%.
He did. Yeah, and by the way, in Seniors documentary that they did, Rob, what Seniors, is it called 41? There was a documentary about George Bush Sr. I think it's called 41. Is it called 41? Yeah, it's called Bush 41. Do you know, and try to find this, Rob, a question is asked at the end of the documentary about Ross Perot. Have you seen how he answers it? Oh, no. You have to see this now that you brought this up. If you can find the ending, just type in Bush 41.
Damn, you're encyclopedic, dude.
Well, no, I'm interested
good.
in this a lot. If you type in Bush 41 documentary, just type in documentary right there. If you see this, do you see where's that in the documentary? Oh, man, I wish we could find it. So at the end of the documentary...
Text it to me, so I'll text it to Clinton in Jamaica.
Well, I'm going to text it to you right afterwards.
Yeah.
I'll find it. I'll text it to you.
Okay.
But when you see it, they ask him about Ross Perot at the end of the documentary. And, Rob, maybe try to do it on ChatGPT or something and see if we'll find where it's at. They ask him, and he snaps at the report, at the person doing the documentary. So I don't want to talk about Ross. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about him. He was furious. They stopped the interview.
Wow.
It was the only time in the documentary that he got upset. Because to him, he believes he would have won if it wasn't for Ross being in there. Now, obviously, Bill disagrees. I'd love to see
I can't even remember how because he'll explain. When he answers, he then explains. So he did explain it to me. I forget exactly what he said, but I kind of tuned out once he said I would have won.
Who have you given the most to over the years? You've given to a lot of people, presidents. Who have you given? I think you were one of the bigger donors for Obama. So you got Obama, Clinton, Hillary, Biden.
Biden was on life support. And when he was, they couldn't even get anybody to go on the record for him. And so I helped Biden a great deal. And, they've all been to my house. They've all been to my house at a certain point. The politician I was closest to, the politician that I chummed around with was Teddy Kennedy. And that was my guy. We're just in my bedroom at my house. I call it the Teddy Kennedy suite because that's where he would stay. And when he'd come down here or down, up to Palm Beach, we were just bonded.
Why?
I just think we were these two Irishmen that clicked. We just clicked. And he'd call me and just shoot the breeze. My son worked for him one summer in D.C. And I called my son. I said, "How you doing?" He's fine. He was 18. I said, "Where are you?" In the office. I said, "Is Senator Kennedy there?" He says, "I think so." I go, "Mike, for God's sake, he's either there or he's not there. What kind of answer is that?" He goes, "Well, I can smell cigar smoke."
Got it.
I go, "Mike, you can't smoke cigars in a federal building." He said, "Daddy, who's going to tell Teddy Kennedy to put out the cigar?"
He was in 43. What was it now? 41 years? I don't know how long he was in there. He was in there for a minute.
When he had his final birthday party, at the Kennedy Center, I picked Bobby up at the airport. Bobby and I went and picked Ethel up, and he had me seated in the box right next to him.
Bobby Kennedy Jr.?
Yeah, he was in my firm before he went to the cabinet.
Oh,
RFK Jr., yeah.
See, he was in your firm. Environmental lawyer? What did he do for you?
He, big mass torts, gas spills, oil spills, the East Palestine train case.
How good of a lawyer was he when you had him?
Well, there's three types of lawyers. There's finders, minders, and grinders. Bobby's a finder. I do a town hall with Bobby Kennedy in East Palestine, which was interesting because that's Trump country. And this is before, we sent Bobby to do a town hall in East Palestine. We signed up all the cases. Bobby's a Pied Piper. Now, he's very, very smart, but and he's very good in trial. But you don't want Bobby doing the nitty-gritty, the discovery, because he tends to wander.
That's the grinder?
That's the grinder.
So you said finder, minder, grinder?
Yes.
What's the middle one?
The finder is the person who brings the minder oversees the grinders.
Like a project manager?
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes.
So the grinder does the due diligence, the research, the calling, the finding out what's going on. What do you know about this? What do you know about that?
The minder oversees them.
What's the most important?
Well, there's no food without the hunt. You got to.
So the finder makes the most money.
Yeah.
Got it.
When Bobby, we had to do a lot of disclosures because, like, the last year he was with me, he made $10 million.
Bobby made $10 million with you last year.
His last year with me.
Great. What year was that?
It was right before.
Wow.
Don't hold me that exact number because it all.
No, he made multi-nine figures.
It's in this when he got confirmed. When he got confirmed, it was I had to file, and he also had to, because he was owed money on other cases, but he had to not take that once he took this position. So,
really, you can't even take the payments for old work you did?
I just signed the document. I did what he.
What a weird law! Like I closed the deal. And there's more work coming in. I can't get paid for work that I did when I wasn't a public servant?
I agree. I said, Bobby, I reluctantly agree.
Listen, we will gladly follow.
We got to be ethical.
Honey, we saved $2.8 million. Steve stays in the house.
We're going to have a big Christmas now. Bobby got confirmed, and I saved a lot of money.
That is so funny. So how about on the Republican side? Who were you close with on the Republican side?
Well, I'm close with everybody. Listen, Danny Perez from Miami, the speaker, having lunch with him Monday. I'm very close with Wilton Simpson, who was the president of the Florida Senate. Wilton's the agriculture commissioner now. I'm his personal lawyer. I did all the votes, the voting stuff for him when he was Senate president. I became close with Jeb later in life. I'm an investor in Jeb's fund, but I wasn't a Jeb guy when because Jeb was a big tort reformer back in the day. I'm very close with. I'm having a fundraiser in a couple of days for the incoming speaker, and who else am I? I mean, look, Pam Bondi was dated a guy in my firm. I mean, we partied like rock stars together.
With Pam Bondi.
Oh, hell yeah. Gasparilla, we can't even talk about it. We can't even talk about it. But we loved her, and she was very good to my kids. And my daughter had a store, Violet Clover, and Pam would come over and buy stuff. She dated a guy in my firm named Billy Howard. They loved each other, but they were always in fight. Billy drank too much, and Pam would call me, Billy, you got to. I finally intervened. Pam called me one night and said, John, Billy was laying in the street in Ybor last night. The cops had to pull him in. I went over after Pam called me. I went over and intervened Billy, and I said, dude, look, because I drank too much myself. So it was like, I said, look, I know I shouldn't be the guy intervening. But you're going to effing kill yourself. And he says, what do you want me to do? And I said, I want you to go to an AA meeting 90 days, every day for 90 days. And I said, but I don't care if you do. I'm just telling you what I think you should do. Billy Howard he had one relapse. He went to Vegas once and fell off the one. So he had a little interruption.
One is not bad.
But he had to get a new chip.
Right.
But Pam Bondi's call to me saved Billy Howard's life.
Wow.
And I think to this day, she's got boyfriends and stuff, but I think to this day she loves Billy Howard. Pam, if you're watching, I mean it.
Is she married today?
She's got a boyfriend.
Oh, she's got a boyfriend, but she loves Billy Howard.
I think so.
Is Billy still with us?
Billy's still with us.
Okay.
And Billy's thriving.
Is he really?
And he's a baseball coach.
Okay, good.
Billy's thriving. And,
good for Billy Howard.
And he's still, he told me that he was at Walgreens a few months ago and he ran into Pam over in Tampa. But look, back in the day when Pam was a state attorney, she's a tri-delt at the University of Florida, during those days, so she's hot. And but her and my children were all close. She was very close with my family, so I've known her, way back. As a matter of fact, when she was running for attorney general, I had a guy working in my firm who Charlie Crist picked as lieutenant governor, Jeff Kottkamp, and Jeff was saying some stuff about Pam that was not necessarily true. And Pam called me hysterical and was like, and I went publicly and said, no, this did not happen. And I had to refute Jeff, who was a Morgan lawyer, but I said, no, that did not happen.
Did you call Jeff and tell him what he
I said, let's say. He goes, he said something like, and I love Jeff. He's from Kentucky like me. We follow Kentucky basketball. You got the Kentucky blue on. But I said, Jeff, and he said something to me like, John, this is a blood sport. I go, well, I ain't fucking lying. And Pam called me from a hotel room in Jacksonville, Florida, and I stomped it out. And Jeff lost, and Pam became attorney general.
Wow. Well, I mean, Pam is one. I've met her once at the inauguration. Beautiful, and she's got a tough job right now. She's getting a lot of heat right now with the handling of Epstein and what happened with that. They had a victory yesterday. What was the thing that they got right yesterday, Rob? It's,
the pipe bomber.
The pipe bomber that came back. That it was.
Yeah, I saw her on the national news last night.
Yeah.
She was announcing with Cash Patel.
She was with Cash and a couple other guys that were there together. Did you ever do anything with Epstein? Did you ever run into Epstein? Or
hell no.
Okay.
But
she's dealing with that.
Listen, here's what we know. Trump's Commerce Secretary, I don't know if he went off script and said, he goes, look, Jeffrey Epstein is a blackmailer. What was his talent?
Really?
Video.
Right.
Video.
Right.
Leverage. That guy that owns the Limited and Victoria's Secret, what did Jeff Epstein bring to him?
Lex Wexner?
Yeah.
Gave him a 77,000 largest private residence in New York.
What Larry Summer?
54,000. I'm sorry. It's a $77 million property, I believe.
Howard Lutnick said it, and he was right. Jeffrey Epstein was a blackmailer. And, no telling what he had on all these people. I think Bill Gates got divorced. I think Melinda Gates, I don't know this, so don't.
Well, she said it in the interview. I'm sure you've seen the interview.
I've seen it, so I don't want to be sued for slander.
Well, I know a good law firm if you're looking for it.
We know how to do slander. But Bill Gates, Bill Gates loves women. Bill Gates, you ready for this? You ready for a little fun fact? When Bill Gates married Melinda Gates in his prenup, we'll go back to the beginning, that he could go off for 1 week a year with his old girlfriend.
Stop it.
Yes, Google that, Vinny.
Stop.
Yes, Google that, Vinny.
Wow.
How would that go over at home with Mama?
Babe, if you're watching, babe, no, we didn't have that in our prenup.
Yeah, I can go off 1 week a year in perpetuity with my old girlfriend.
Why would she agree to that?
Money. Melinda Gates, when you read their story, she was acting like she met him in the parking lot and didn't know who he was. And she worked at Microsoft. I mean, no, I don't believe you, Melinda. I believe that you parked next to him on purpose. And she dated Bo Wrigley at Duke's. I mean, there's people that are looking for money.
So you think she was a gold digger?
I think so.
Wow. Yeah, so is that the one that had an annual tradition with his ex-girlfriend, software entrepreneur Ann Winbland, to spend a long weekend together each spring at her beach cottage at the Outer Banks, a practice he maintained with his then wife. Wow, Melinda's agreement, which involved activities like dune buggy riding, walking on the beach, and discussing technology and life, a tradition that
I'd like to know what went on that dune buggy. I'd like to know what went on in that dune buggy. They're calling it dune buggy. I call it something. I call it buggery. I call it dune buggery. Look up, put the word buggery up there put buggery up there on the screen.
Oh, wow.
Well, maybe he's not lying. Maybe
I don't know.
He's not lying.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I just report the facts.
The FLB shoes. By the way, I am officially on. Let me see this. I'm on day 57 out of 58 that I've worn these shoes. Love wearing these shoes every single day. I think Vinny's got it on. The other night we went to dinner. Vinny was wearing this black pants, white shirt with the FLB shoes. We walk into the restaurant, 7 girls lined up waiting to meet with Vinny.
One girl was crying. She was crying. She was shaking.
She was crying. She was shaking.
The shoes. I was like, I can't.
Are you Ringo Starr?
So for those of you guys that are asking about getting the shoes before Christmas for your husband or your sons or your friend, this is what you want to be thinking about. Size black and brown. Size black and brown. Let me see this thing here from Black and Brown. So let's go to the partners or what's available. So size black and brown, if you want to get them, size 9, 10, and 11 are available to get before Christmas. White, all sizes are available except for 7, 7.5, and 8.5. Navy, 8, 9, 9.5, 10, and 11 are available before Christmas. Of course, after Christmas, shipment is coming. That'll be here New Year's. These things, we can't even keep these on the shelves, to be honest with you, with the shoes. Once you put them on, just go read the reviews, with people writing reviews when they bought them. Once you put them on, you'll realize why this has become as hot of an item for us as we expected it. Took us 2 years to do this, Rob. If you want to play the clip on that, we'll get into the stories. Here's the FLB shoes. Go for it. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. I love it. Design in Florida, 100% made in Italy. Folks, if you haven't yet ordered one, we had 2 guys yesterday that ordered 4 of all colors. And one of them was from UK. The other one was from Belgium or something like that, ordering these shoes. If you want to find out how it matches against everybody else, go to vtmerch.com. On the homepage, you'll see the shoes. Click on the link to go learn more about the shoes and place an order for your husband, for your spouse, for your son, for somebody maybe that works for your company as a recognition. And go to vtmerch.com to place your order. So as you having these many lawyers, did any of them run into Epstein? Did any of them call and say, listen, I got this thing? Nothing. I came through your firm. Got it. Yeah, very interesting.
We just tried a case. No, we tried a case. We had a verdict against Google a couple of weeks ago in San Francisco. We got a $500 million verdict. But the lawyer we tried it with was David Boyce, and David Boyce Schiller, he's representing the girl who just committed suicide. So Boyce has a lot of those cases, but I did not get any of the cases, and I never knew Jeffrey Epstein.
Got it.
And by the way, Bill Clinton was never on the island.
He told you this?
Many times. He was never on the island.
He's on the flight log, though, isn't he?
He's on. Listen, he was on the planes.
But never went to the island.
Never.
He is like the main name that gets dropped with the picture. So I will tell you one thing.
Yeah, he's the main name, but Trump's a main name too, and Trump says he was never on the island. So there's 2 main names that people want: Trump, Clinton, Trump, Clinton, Trump, Clinton, and that's what gets clicks.
Yeah, but there's a big difference, and I'll tell you what the big difference is.
Okay, here we go.
So I had Michael Wolff on. I don't know if you know who Michael Wolff is. You know who he is. Okay. So I had Michael Wolff on, and we're sitting having a conversation together. We've talked on the phone many times. And I said, okay, so what was it like? Because he has 100 hours of recorded conversation with Epstein at his place at the property that Wexner gifted him. I said, okay. I said, is there a painting of President Clinton with a blue dress on?
Yeah.
I asked him that question. He says, yeah, there is. I said, really? Yeah. In Epstein's suite, yeah. There is. Yeah. Where? Right next to the bathroom. Why would there be a painting of the president with a dress on in his place? He said, I don't know. I said, I don't know. So,
when you saw the painting, it's like it's a joke. I mean, he's in a dress and pearls.
That's the one right there.
But yeah, there he is. But look, what Epstein, he sold himself as an influencer, that he can connect you, and I know Clinton, and I know Trump, and I know the Prince, and I know Larry Sumner, and he did all this, and then he got some of them in his web, and I believe that Howard Lutnick, or whatever his damn name is correct. Right, yeah. Jeffrey Epstein, this guy was like a teacher.
Math teacher.
A math teacher in some bullshit school that he got fired in New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, this was no tax whiz.
You think he was part of the Mossad? You think he was like the
Mossad?
Yeah. Intel?
No. I just think he was a lone wolf that just got out there.
You think he sold intel to CIA and to Mossad and others?
Well, I think anything's possible with that guy. But I don't even know how he made so much money, and how did he make the ask from Leslie Wexner? Because it wasn't just the house the guy gave him.
Did you ever do any kind of things with Leon Black?
No, but, we won't hear from him much. I mean, his brother-in-law, Tony Resler, who has his own company, I met him at Grant Hill's. He's his brother-in-law. I met Tony at Grant Hill's NBA Hall of Fame induction. But no, I've never done anything with Leon Black.
Well,
Tony Resler, the brother-in-law, and his son, Tony Resler's son's very good friends with my son Dan, who you met.
Got it. The guy with the nice sports coat that he has. He doesn't wear the
zoot suit, I call it.
Zoot. Yeah, so when you hear the stories about him, when he says he paid $170 million of consulting to Epstein, I've never heard of. I mean, have you've done tens of billions of dollars of engagements, right? Have you ever had a client pay you guys $170 million in legal fees?
Not voluntarily.
Not voluntarily. Okay, that's a different story.
I settled the Hawaiian fire case for $4 billion this year.
$4 billion.
So I've had some big fees, but no.
Wow.
Look, 170. Just think about that. 170. I mean, look. My mentor in life was a guy named Bill Demetrius, Lebanese guy, and he said something to me one time that people think, and he said to me, "Remember this, John. If money will solve a problem, solve the problem." So look, Epstein goes with this blackmail to whoever and says, yes or no. And then they say, if money will solve a problem, I got to solve this problem. Because I don't care what, Epstein ain't worth
$170 million.
He ain't worth $17. But if you got a bunch of pictures with people pissing on you, nude and orgies, you got billions and billions, and think of what he could have lost when he was paying it. What if he had let it out at that point in time?
Yeah.
Now the real question is, would Epstein have ever really pulled the trigger with his blackmail, if that's what it was?
Well, maybe Ghislaine has it somewhere, and she's got a dead man switch, and that's why she's safe.
Ghislaine has everything.
Yeah.
She has everything.
I wonder who has it, or what lawyer has it. How do you do that?
Well,
if she does have it, does she tell 3 lawyers that pays each a certain amount of money to keep, that if something ever happens to me, leak it? How do you do that if you have that kind of information?
Well, she's got 2 brothers that I guarantee you, if she's going to tell anybody, she's going to tell them. But look, she's in Texas now. She's got, better setup. I mean, look, if she was compelled and we shot her up with sodium pentothal, there'd be a lot of powerful people go down because she was there for everything. She was the madam. She was the madam. She was the recruiter. She had a deep crush on this guy, and she did everything. She is the deep throat of the Epstein saga. And
probably both meanings. I mean, if you like, the Watergate, you know what I'm saying? Possibly, because she seems talented. Yeah. You hear stuff. There's one of the documentaries you're watching about a girl that said, well, they went there to buy purses. They bought a bunch of stuff from her, and then they invited her back up to one of the penthouse places that they had. And so she says, yeah, I'll come back. She goes upstairs. Epstein comes back in a robe. They're sitting on a couch. Epstein and Ghislaine take their clothes off. They start making out. They start fooling around. And then they look at her and they get her involved. She's like, I didn't even know what the hell was going on. What they did, the stories you hear.
The thing I just read recently, which was kind of gross, is that his penis was the shape of a lemon.
What does that even look like? Penis shape of a lemon?
I don't like it. I don't want it.
Well, listen, shape of a lemon?
It was like small.
Oh, that's what they're saying?
Howard Stern said one time that his penis was so small it looked like an elevator button. But but I don't know if that's a lemon or not.
Who said the lemon? Because I saw it on New York Post. Who said he had the size of a lemon?
Everybody. The girls that were with him. The girls.
He had the size of a lemon penis.
Yeah, but small.
So what do you
might have been a kumquat.
So maybe when he was born, his parents didn't know if he was a boy or a girl yet. It took like about a year or something to find out. It's like, baby, maybe this is a girl we just had here. Rob, you're not going to go any lower, are you?
No, that's.
Is that what I think it is?
No, it's the New York Post. I just don't know what the photo is.
I'll tell you.
Okay, well, have them not show it and go a little bit lower. Oh, I see what you're doing.
He's got an elevator button, it looks like.
He's got an elevator button.
I'll tell you, that guy on the left, I want to be him. That guy needs a fucking holster. God. If I was him, I'd have stripped the damn underwear off for that photo.
Rob, see who's the guy on the left?
Yeah,
Did they even say that? Let's give him some
God,
recognition.
he's going to get a lot of calls on this.
He's going to get a lot of calls. Honey, John Morgan's talking about your dangling,
Yeah.
and he was actually very complimentary. No way, babe.
You're schlong.
You're schlong. What was your, what's your relation? Because you've been complimentary of Trump a little bit lately. What's your relationship with him?
Zero. I met him a couple of times at Mar-a-Lago. I think he's a genius. But the way he's been able to cobble this whole consortium that reelected him by a landslide, and people, he says he's a stable genius. He is a genius. That what he's been able to do with the Christian right, the Proud Boys, the Wall Street people. And look, what happened with Trump was America had gone so far left, it was going off the cliff. There was reverse discrimination. Mm-hmm. And I said this to people. They were like, what are you talking about? I said, this election, this is a race war. Mm-hmm. A lot of the MAGA people are like, and now I've got 2 class actions for reverse discrimination. Because what happened, they went so far to the left with DEI and, inappropriate comments and just so far to the left that it was a correction. Woke, defund the police. It's like they did everything they could to lose. Who says defund the police? What would be one thing you would not want to 411
Exactly.
or 911 to go away?
Yeah.
I'll take my trash to the dumpster myself before I give up 911.
That's right.
Right? But it's like, who are these people? Who are telling them to defund the police? So they went so far, and that had to be corrected. That there had to be a reset. Gavin Newsom was like, we're going to give everybody $350,000 in reparations. And Trump understood that the majority of America was not for that. And every time he would do something, everybody would be like, that's it. When he went after John McCain, they're like, okay, that's it.
Done.
He's done.
Yeah.
Stronger.
Comments about Mexicans, he's done. Comments about Muslims. So, yeah.
And you're like, he's the guy. He's everybody's got a crazy uncle at the dinner table that just says shit. Yeah. Like, I just make Vietnam a rice patty. He's the president now. And guess what? Here's the thing about it. Like Venezuela, they know not only is he'll do it and is doing it. Mm-hmm. So there had to be a reset in this country.
Do you feel confident with him as a president right now, both economically on running a business as well as America being safer?
Well, I feel like this. Look, and the records will reflect, I did not vote in the presidential election.
This year, 24.
Did not.
So you didn't vote for Kamala?
No, hell no.
You're not a Kamala fan?
She hates
She
me.
called herself the greatest candidate they've had in a long time.
Guess what her slogan was?
What's that?
For the people. No, when he got out of the race, and I said, look, I'd already raised $800,000 for the reelect, and I said, can I have it back?
Can you ask for it back?
I did, just because I was pissed, and then I said, and I tweeted when it happened, because then Joe Biden said, okay, it's going to be Kamala, and I tweeted it. Joe Biden just said, fuck you to the Democratic Party.
Wow.
Because it was as soon as that happened, I knew the election was over. I knew it was over. I've been around her, very annoying. If you look at the debate up in Iowa the first time, it's almost like, is she on something? It's like, what is it? In the primary, when she first ran, she didn't get she got 8% of the vote in California. And then they made her the nominee. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big anti-Kamala person. But I was so invested. I've been with Biden since forever and ever. I mean, I've been riding with Biden for a long time. And I really thought that he would be the bridge and that would be that. But as time has gone on, like Ronald Reagan said, I didn't leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left me. I understand why the socialism is on the rise, because affordability is an issue. And the one thing that people might disagree with me is I believe that the solution for affordability is a higher wage. And that's why I spent $10 or $15 million to raise the minimum wage in Florida. Think about this. Federal minimum wage is $8 an hour. How long?
Is it $7.20 or they raise it to $8?
Whatever. I mean, it's
what is the federal minimum wage? I think it's $7.20.
I think it's $8, but I don't know.
You may be right. I mean, you would know better than I would.
know, because
Oh, okay. It's $7.25.
I said, listen, dude, I said you were encyclopedic. I didn't realize baseball, minimum wage, lemon dicks. You know, you whatever.
Well, I'm a Renaissance man.
A boheme, you know.
That last one threw me off, but all the other ones I would take.
But yeah, so that's the issue of the day, and it applies
affordability, minimum wage.
That's what we need. And look,
how do you fix it though? So you raise. So what do you do? Even if we take the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, raise it to $15 an hour, who takes a hit? We don't take a hit. People in Arkansas take a hit. People in Kansas take a hit. You know, rural areas.
Why would they take a hit?
I mean, those small business owners.
Oh, the small business owners.
The small business owner where the cost of living is, where houses sell for $140,000 or $180,000. They raise the minimum wage. That guy's like.
Well, look, what should happen, and you're absolutely correct. Do you know Jose Oliva?
Mm-mm.
He was the speaker in Florida.
Mm-mm.
When I was going to do the minimum wage, he came to me. He said, "John, don't do it." And he's got a cigar company down in Miami, and Jose said, "Don't do it." He was very much against it, and I said, "Jose, I don't want to do it as a constitutional amendment. I would rather you all do it where we could tailor it to the state, where we because there's one single subject, it's very limited what you can do. Like I would have preferred to have a deal where, you know, people 18 and under didn't have to fall into it. People younger, you know. So what should really happen is state by state by state, they should come in. Because look, when I hire people to work in New York, I mean, I got offices on Wall Street. A one bedroom studio is $4,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. I just filmed a commercial with John Daly in Arkansas a few weeks ago.
Fun.
Oh my God!
I bet you guys had a lot of fun. I'd love to see what you guys did off camera.
Oh well, here's how it ends. So we're there all day with him. He's got a seltzer all day. I mean, he's just slamming them, smoking the cigarettes. We did. There we are. So, but here's the great part about John Daly. So we finished the shoot. We're there all day, and my son Matt was with me. He had to run back into this. It's John Daly's home course. It's just a shithole in Arkansas. I told Clinton about it. He goes, "I got a lot of relatives in wherever I was." We couldn't even fly in because the runway was too small. But John Daly, when the shoot was over, Matt went back in the clubhouse, which was kind of like, you know, a bathhouse. It's just a, you know, like that pool you used to sell water in. But Matt comes out and he says, "Daddy," he said, "you're not going to believe it," because John Daly's in the new Adam Sandler film, Happy Gilmore. He gets back in the van for us to go to the plane. He goes, "Daddy, you're not going to believe it." I go, "What?" He goes, "I just went in to get my jacket." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "John Daly is sitting on a couch by himself with a bowl of potato chips, watching Happy Gilmore 2 and laughing his ass off at himself." And
I can totally visualize that.
He was exactly.
I can see him doing that.
Oh, exactly. And you ready for this? He's got a house there. That's his, but he sleeps in the trailer out in front of the house. He doesn't even go in the house to sleep.
How entertaining is he?
Incredible all day long. And the ad ends like this. We're calling the ad the big hitters, and the ad ends like, you're going to like this. The ad ends like this. It's me and all my boys were out there with me, and so it's his son. So John Daly hits a final shot, he just crushes it, and he goes, 4, and I look and I go, the people. And that's how the ad.
I like that.
That's how the ad is.
I like that a lot. Yeah, and by the way, what happened with you and the Willie? What is it? The Sweetboat Willie? What am I saying it correctly or no? Steve, can you pull up the Steamboat Willie commercial?
Yeah, show
I want to know what's going on with Disney. Are you suing Disney? Or are they suing you? Play the clip first.
I'll show it.
Go for it, Rob.
I'll tell you what I did.
This Morgan video was not approved, authorized, or endorsed by Disney.
That is so funny.
This Morgan video was not approved, authorized,
So
or
here's
endorsed
what
by
I
Disney.
want. Here's my goal with ads.
Okay.
Every ad I do, I want it to be so great that the viewer rewinds the TV to watch it again.
We watched this already a couple times
Right.
today.
Because when you first watch it, you're like, well, he's going to be sued. How the F did he get away with this?
Yeah.
So that's what I want. I call it Purple Cow. I want to have a commercial that's not a brown cow, that's a purple cow, makes you stop. Like your guy out there showing
Great
me
book.
pictures of him doing animal
Vinny?
voices. Yeah, doing him as a reindeer.
Yeah.
So when the Steamboat Willie IP ran out, so you can only have it for 50 years, and then I started thinking about Steamboat Willie. That would be a purple cow moment.
Commercial. Yeah.
So I was getting advice from all these IP people, like, well, they can still sue you. You got to make sure you make a disclaimer that, and then they were telling me that I had to go spend like $75,000 and have a poll, have people tell me whether they thought that was approved by Disney. It was like they were just going around and around. I went around and around with these different law firms. I finally said, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sue Disney. So I filed for a deck action in federal court to say, look, Disney doesn't have the rights to this anymore. The IP has expired. And after a few months, Disney agreed that I could run this commercial.
So you won.
I won.
Not settle, you won.
It's running. And guess what? They're the same people that fucked with my brother Tim when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
I came back. I didn't forget. I'm like Trump, retribution.
When is your birthday?
3/31. I'll be
3/31.
Aries.
Yeah, Aries, solid. I respect Aries a lot. My dad's April 10th. I get along with all Aries. They're very reliable, dependable, and they will never forget.
Loyal.
Yeah, very. But my dad is also a vengeance guy. He's also about retribution.
And I'm also Irish, so we hold grudges.
There you go. Well, we're Middle Eastern.
No.
All we got is grudges.
You win.
All we got is
You win.
So, DeSantis, tell me, any plans of you running? Do you have any desire to run governor? Like, you've said stuff before just to kind of, I don't know if you're flirting or if you actually wanted to run.
Here's how I'm thinking about it. I've thought about it. I like it. I like the idea of, because I think I could do some good. I believe that I'm not a DeSantis fan. He's not a John Morgan fan. He's, he was going.
Why not? What do you not like about what he's done? I think he's done a great job.
Tort reform. What he did in property, I'm going to tell you, and nobody's going to understand till it happens. There's going to be a hurricane. Here's how it used to work.
You said that about Jeb Bush as well, right? About 30 minutes ago.
He was a tort reformer in the beginning.
So tell me about tort reform. Maybe. Well, I've only been here for 4 or 5 years.
The insurance industry wants to collect money and never pay out. In Florida, the way it was before is if the insurance company, if there was a hurricane and your house got blown up, and you sue, and the insurance company denies the claim or try to lowball you, we would sue the insurance company. We'd go to trial, and we would win or we would lose, and we probably won 99% of the time. The new law that DeSantis brought in was, now the new law is you don't get fees, you don't get anything. If you sue the insurance company and win, all you get is the amount. So let's say that you need $100,000 to fix your house. So you get awarded $100,000, but the lawyers got to take a piece of the $100,000 now, and you can't fix your house. So we will rewind this tape one day when there's a massive hurricane, because it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. But what's going to happen is there's going to be a massive hurricane. The insurance companies, look, they are not, the agents, they're great. They're the guys slapping the backs. The people, the bean counters, they're there to screw the other side. So I got into it with him over the tort reform for property damage. And I think it's disastrous. And I think that one day, look, our single greatest asset for most of us is our home. Our number one payment every month is your mortgage. And what I don't like about what happened, and look, nobody's going to know about it. It's like if there was something about med-mal, you're not worried about med-mal, right? Listen here. They tried to pass a bill called free kill in Florida, the only state in the country. If a doctor kills somebody and that person that they kill don't have a spouse and have adult children 25 or older, no right to sue. You can't sue. So the only state
Can you look that up?
Yeah, listen.
What is it called? It's
free kill.
Type in free, not freak kill. Free kill.
Freak kill would be Epstein.
That's what he did.
Oh, is that what he said?
About that freak kill.
Yeah, Epstein's picture popped up.
So Florida's free kill law provide wrongful death that prevents parents of an adult child 25 or older and children from suing for damage in case of medical negligence that lead to death. It specifically denies the right to what?
The only state in the country. Now,
what's the argument for it?
There's none. Insurance donations for presidential runs in new and next. So think about
who does this protect the most?
The insurance industry and the doctor. Look, here's the deal. It's the only state. Now, here's something that's more outrageous. The Florida House and the Florida Senate, all the Republicans, they voted to overturn this. DeSantis vetoed it. Why?
Why?
Campaign contribution.
From who?
The insurance industry.
But who specifically? Who?
You name it. I mean,
he's not friendly with the insurance companies, though.
Oh, look at his campaign contributions.
Can you look up how much money DeSantis got from insurance companies for campaigns? Campaign donations.
And doctors, because like all of a sudden it's called free kill for a reason. The doctors, if the doctor has no liability.
According to one at least investigative, DeSantis' affiliate political committee has taken $3.9 million contribution from insurance industry players. Got it. If one include donations from some public on January 20, in total from insurance industry.
And look, and by the way,
$9.9 million. 2 property casualty insurance firms donated a combined of $125,000.
And we don't even know about dark money. We don't know about PACs. We don't know what we don't know.
Well, I think he. Let's put these two, and I want to come to another question with you on DeSantis. These two are issues that you may disagree with that he's done, and free kill to me throws me off a little bit.
Well, by the way, it threw everybody off in the Florida House.
When did that pass?
This year. He vetoed it. And then they had it veto proof, but he got to the Senate president who let it roll in his, politics. The only state in the union.
That is very weird to have that.
It's very bad.
Yeah. And so what do you think about what he's doing with...
And by the way, on that property stuff, I was saying, look, here's what you should do. Get rid of the AOB's assignment of benefits. Don't let the public adjusters go out and solicit. I mean, I had a lot of fixes. No, because there was a guy who's going to be the president of the Senate one day, Tom Leak, who works for Charlie Lidecker. You know what Charlie Lidecker? Insurance. Look up what Tom Leak's net worth is.
Leak.
Leek. When he took office and what it is now. He was the ringleader of this. Leek. And now he's a senator and he's going to be president of the Senate. Look at his net worth since he went to work for Charlie Lidecker.
Do you see it, Rob, or no?
I'm looking.
Yeah, because I see it on a different article. So just under $1 million, and then it went to over $14 million. I see the article.
Yeah.
I see the article. So he 1,400%.
And he's not done. He's now in the Senate.
Interesting. Okay, so for you now, are you? By the way, same thing's happening with me as well on that site. I think it's a virus site, so be careful with that site. Yeah. So, what do you think about what he just said recently about wanting to get rid of property taxes, and whether it's homestead, focusing mainly on homestead, and then trying to find a way to pass the tax on tourism and people that are coming in here. How do you feel about him wanting to get rid of taxes for homeowners who are homestead?
Look, I'd also like him to give us $5,000 a month as a stipend too. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. Of course I would like it. Who wouldn't? You know what the best word in America is for marketing? Free. You know what the second best word in America is? Money. You know what the two best words together are in America? Free money. He's selling free money. Who can be against it? Listen, my property tax, I got a bunch of houses in Florida and Hawaii and New Hampshire. My property taxes, nobody wants property taxes gone more than me. And if there's a way to do it, I'll take the free money. I think it's a gimmick.
But what's he campaigning for? Like, what's the purpose? He can't do it another term.
He's trying to get his lieutenant governor propped up to run for governor. Have you seen the ads they're running for that guy? That's what it's about.
For a minute, everybody was thinking it was going to be Casey.
Well, I hope Florida has derailed her a little bit.
Right. So, what do you think about Byron Donalds?
I know him, and I don't have any.
Relationship.
I know this. I hear from my people that DeSantis cannot stand him.
That's what I hear as well.
So, so you got that too. A lot of people, when you're a governor for 8 years, you don't want somebody you don't like. Look, when Rick Scott, when Rick Scott lost or left, he left town because Charlie Crist was the governor, and then when Charlie was no longer governor, he came to work at Morgan & Morgan. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but Rick Scott just left town. So I don't think that DeSantis can stomach the idea of Byron Donalds coming in.
Doesn't sound like you mind that.
I don't. I'm okay. Listen, but the guy that I like the most is Wilton Simpson, the ag commissioner. He and I started a bank together over in Pasco.
Wilton Simpson?
Yeah.
What's special about him?
I believe that he cares about people. I believe he's a fiscal conservative, but I believe he's a compassionate conservative.
And he's a Republican, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm his personal lawyer.
Wow. And you'd like to see him go?
I wouldn't be upset.
But you have no desire yourself?
The only reason I haven't, look, when you do those campaigns, all the people on the Republican, like when I went to the White House last night, they went and sequestered me in a room and said, look at this polling, this is what you could do. I'm kind of a wild card because I've been able to be a wild card because I'm never running for it, so I kind of say what I think. There's things I would like to do that I think I'd be, I think I'd be way more for the people than what this has been. But the problem is I'd hate to sit into, Florida Highway Patrol budget meetings. I mean,
I can't see you doing that.
No.
There's finders, there's minders, there's grinders.
I've heard that.
Have you heard that before? I love it. So minders
I'm going to steal
that.
I'm going to steal that, man.
You know what I call it? I call it generator, closer, builder. There's sales guys that know how to prospect. There's those who know how to close, and there's those who know how to build great relationships to get more referrals.
You sound like an insurance guy to me.
I sound like a sales guy. I've been a sales guy my entire life. That's what I know how to do.
Sell the sizzle, not the steak.
That's right. So would you consider yourself more a lawyer, a businessman, or a sales guy, marketing guy? Which one do you rank those? Businessman, lawyer, marketer?
Business. Number
one is business. What's two?
Marketing.
And then last is lawyer.
I play a lawyer on TV. but
That's cool.
But I like the marketing aspect. Look, but I'm in listen, I owned a billboard company. I built shopping centers. I have Marriott hotels. So I'm a guy. Here's the thing about me. I don't hunt. I don't fish. I don't understand going out and catch and release and ripping of fishes. But my son fishes all the time. And I don't really golf. So those three things are big business, big waste of time to me. I don't hunt, I don't fish, I don't play golf. I hunt and fish money. And so I got a lot of free time. So like when I started building my attractions, I built these attractions, these upside down houses all over America. It's like, hey, I got some time. I'm not, it's called WonderWorks. I'm not hunting. I'm not fishing. I'm not golfing. I'm going to go build this business. And that's my recreation.
I've seen these. This is you?
Those are me.
I've seen these all over the place.
Yeah. And then I got another one called Alcatraz East. Hey, I have a place I built called Alcatraz East, the history of crime and punishment. The grand finale is Ted Bundy's VW, Bonnie and Clyde death car. There's John Dillinger's sedan up there in the left. And if you keep going, I got OJ's Bronco in there.
The Bronco.
There it is, down there.
This is what I asked you when I said, what do you have that are unique stuff?
Listen, you know what I just bought? I just bought the Murdoch's, the golf cart from Murdoch, and I got John Bonet's bicycle. This place prints money. America's fascinated with crime and punishment. Fascinated. Movies, TV, CSI, look at it all. So I go, what if, and one day I go to Alcatraz in San Francisco, and there's no tickets. I said, why? 2 weeks out. I go, 2 weeks out. I pull out a couple $100 bills. I said, are you sure? No, come on. So $100 will solve any problem in America, usually. And
you ain't lying.
Yeah. If you go to a strip club with a $100 bill on your head, you'll see that. But so I go, so again, through Alcatraz East, I was fascinated with it. I keep thinking about it. What if there was an attraction that was the history of crime and punishment? And so I came back and I started working on it, and then I built it.
Where is this at? Is this in Orlando or
Pigeon Forge, Tennessee? I got a WonderWorks. Here's what I got in Pigeon Forge. I got Alcatraz East. I got WonderWorks, and then I got another. My latest concept there is called Downtown Flavor Town with Guy Fieri. Just think about this. Guy Fieri meets Dave & Buster's. So I've got this huge... The guy. He just had a big accident.
How's he doing?
It's a bad injury. I told him, I said, you may need me. But so it's an arcade with his food, and it's right behind my Alcatraz East.
I hear he is like the biggest personality, larger than life, and
he calls California. He bought a place down in Palm Beach. I said, "Why are you moving there?" He said, "I got to get the hell out of California." He called it
California.
He called it California.
Yeah.
So he bought a place south in Palm Beach.
No, he's a character.
Oh,
he's a character.
He is a big personality.
But by the way, when you said Biden, I remember one time I was looking at this house in Harbor Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and the house was on the market for $99 million or $98 million. And I go inside the house. I think the house just sold for like $67 million. It just closed for $67 million. And it was in Harbor Beach, beautiful home. The guy bought 5 lots, turned it into his house. And yeah, that's the one, $70 million. That's the one that sold for, I think that's the one that's exactly the one. So $67 million is what it, $70 million that it sold.
Okay.
And it was, they're showing me all the rooms, beautiful place, out of control, just gorgeous. And I go into the master bedroom, I'm like, it's nice, it's an American flag. Big American flag. Well, it was the American flag from inauguration when Joe Biden won.
Oh.
And it was the one that was given to him. And it was a guy, I believe, Sussman, am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. He was a big donor to Biden as well.
Got a place in Portugal.
He does have a place in Portugal. What made Biden so appealing for you to get behind him?
For me?
Yeah.
Because, look, Joe Biden was a guy who went home every night on a train to his family. Everybody else is leading a double life in D.C. I liked his character. I liked the way that he loved his family. Joe Biden, to me, was kind of a Clinton. Listen, Joe Biden was friends. I mean, he got in trouble for talking about, being friends with some Republicans. I mean, just for that. He was kind of in the middle. what made him appealing to me was I thought he had a compassionate heart. He was a centrist, but his character. When we first talked about running for president, I was talking to him, and I said, where are you? So I'm looking at the Potomac, and we started talking about Bo, and he started crying. It was, real crying. And I felt that pain, and I heard his pain. And I thought to myself, this is a guy that could feel America's pain. That's who I want. I want somebody who's going to feel our pain, not the richest people's pain. Because when you grow up like I did, you were never, you were the guy that was desperate. And I want somebody that's going to be for me. I want to do the most for the most with the least, but within the confines of a capitalistic government.
How do you think he did as a president? Because a lot of times, they'll say Jimmy Carter was a good man, but a horrible president, right? You'll hear that sometimes being dropped as he was not one of the better presidents we had the last 60 years, 7 years.
Well, what he did was, what happened is this: his staff took over.
Biden's staff. Yeah.
The donors, look, they asked me recently, how do you think he's going to do on his presidential library? You know my answer was? He'll be lucky to build a fucking bookmobile. I mean, there ain't going to be no library of any consequence. Why? Because I was getting ready to say something I'm not going to say, but his staff would not call big people back. Chris Dodd was Biden's best friend. He couldn't get him on the phone.
Who protected that, though? Was it his chief of staff? Like, was he?
Well,
was
it was
Susie
Anita
Wiles?
Dunn. It was not. Yeah, it was his chief of staff. It was Ron Klain who insisted on Kamala. It was Steve Ricchetti. It was Anita Dunn, who was moving in and out of politics and going to SD Knickerbocker. And the reason he's not going to be able to is the reason it's a tragedy is, and then he had that blind spot for Hunter. He had that blind spot for Hunter, which, because look, me and him are Irish. We have this thing about our children, but look, Hunter is just a despicable character.
His son.
Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But his deep love for Hunter Biden, I shouldn't say despicable, he's an addict. He's the Skid Row addict. I mean, if his dad wasn't president, he'd be a Bowery guy. Things that they were doing that were pissing me off when he started selling paintings for $500,000. I mean, that guy couldn't draw a damn stick man. And people are paying $500,000 for his paintings. It went off the rails. What my hope was that he was going to bring the country back to center at the end of the 2 years, say, go get it. And so I'm disappointed in that. And I think his presidency, one thing that's going to be overlooked in his presidency is the infrastructure bill, which everybody's got a lot of opinions on the infrastructure bill, but America's infrastructure is breaking down. And I thought that was a positive thing, and I thought that would be his signature piece, that we'd start getting Wi-Fi in the rural areas, we start putting bridges back, and I believe that Trump's going to benefit from the lift from the infrastructure, because there's a lot, that money is still going into there. Now, what else did he do? Very little. But his staff took charge, and they protected him. And look,
do you believe he signed all those? Do you think he approved all those pardons, or you think his staff signed all the?
I think he approved them. I think he approved them.
You think he approved all of them?
Listen, I know listen, I have a cousin, okay, Jerry Lundergan, who went to prison, and his daughter ran against Mitch McConnell, and Clinton went down and met with Biden to try to get a pardon for Jerry, and Jerry's a big donor. They didn't give Jerry a pardon. Biden was involved in the pardons. Now, all this auto pen, I sign auto pen every day with DocuSign. I mean, what the fuck are we talking? I mean, I don't know.
No, I do as well. As an insurance guy, we've written 1 million insurance policies. So, for us, there's going to be so many things. It's like boom, boom, boom. But and I'm not talking to policies. I'm talking about, hey, cutting the check for this, cutting approval for this. I approve.
Do I think? Do I think the real question is, did a staff member pardon and just slide it in front of him?
No. What I'm saying to you is the following. Obviously, he was not fully there. I mean, I watched the first debate, Jake Tapper. Within the first 30 seconds, I'm like, Jake knows what's going on, and Jake Tapper knows that they're
Are
about to...
Are you talking about the one where...
You'll see where I'm going with this. I knew he was not in good shape when I saw it. And the world did as well. It's not like I'm doing anything special. Everybody saw it. But to me, for me to believe that all of those pardons he did, I have a hard time believing that. And neither do a lot of Americans, by the way.
And listen, with that staff, I will say that. And I will say the same thing about what you said. Look, I went to the White House. I saw him. I saw the State of the Union. I was like, okay, this guy's okay. Maybe he's okay. That night, I went to the beach. I made myself a big Maker's Mark, crushed ice, Scotsman ice.
Good for you.
Little splash of Coke, emphasis on splash. I got me a big Orville Redenbacher drizzle with butter. I'm like, I'm sitting down for this. And within whatever, he was looking off camera. He looked like a corpse. I texted Pelosi that right there, 10 minutes in, and I texted Nancy Pelosi and I said, the election is over. The election is over. And it was. And I asked later, I asked some people, I said, did he ever go there for a dry run? Did he ever go and check the lights? Who did his makeup? I mean, if you remember, he was looking over. He wasn't looking. And you know what the answer was? The first time he stood at that podium was when they wheeled his ass out on stage. And then when the wife came up and said, you did it, Joe. We're all like, yeah, you fucking shit the bed, Joe. That's what you did. And, I'm close with his brother Frank. His brother Frank, I helped Frank get his prostate taken out up in Orlando last year. But his legacy was ruined by his staff. And look, who knows you the best? I own nursing homes in Florida. I got memory centers. When you try to get the keys away from somebody, it's hard to get the keys away because are they or aren't they? Are they there or not they there? What George Clooney saw, another Kentucky guy, I'm better looking than him, we're both from Kentucky. But George Clooney saw it. Now, we had never seen it because he was being guarded. And I think what happened is the sycophants around him didn't want to give up the power and the money. And that's why that's why Kamala got shellacked.
Yeah. It's this property, by the way, the property I bought, this 11 acres on the airport. I think the previous owner was business partners with Biden's brother. I think he got in trouble with
Jim.
I don't know whichever one that got in trouble is.
Well, Jim's in insurance.
Oh, then that's the one. Jim got in trouble
with insurance
with the previous owner of this place. And I talked to the DOJ, I talked to the FBI. Took me 3.5 years to be able to buy this property. I've been looking at this property for 3.5 years.
When I landed here, I'm like, the guy says, we're going to be there in 3 minutes. I said, we just landed. All of a sudden, I'm in a car. The gates are pulling up. There's two big guys, and they want to talk to you. I'm looking out the window. Said, what do you want to talk to me? Who are you? I said, I'm here for this. I mean, this is a compound.
Yeah, it is. That's why we wanted this.
I mean, I was like, is the Mossad running this place?
Well,
that's what I told. You know what I said to Dan? You know what I said about son? You know what I said to Dan? I said, I feel like the Mossad. I said, I feel like the fucking Mossad is here. I mean, I said, and how are we here already? We just got off the plane.
That joke alone, you don't even know what that joke's going to do to a crew here cracking up because this was a DOD CIA property.
Oh.
Iran-Contra, the whole weapons was done from this exact 11 acres.
I smelled it, didn't I?
Yeah,
I smelled
it. Good for you.
I said it.
Good for you.
I said, Dan, I said, I feel like the Mossad is running security here.
That is hilarious. That last question before we wrap up.
But we left. I mean, we were in the car for 3 minutes and we're pulling in.
That's what I love, though.
I see the Hard Rock Stadium. Like, okay, well, how long away is 3 minutes? I was like, All of a sudden, we're coming through.
Yeah.
I thought we were still on the tarmac.
That's what I love about it. Tony Robbins comes here on the podcast. He lands on a helicopter, walks in, finish the podcast, get back on a helicopter, goes back home. That's why we love this whole concept of what we have.
You know what they call that in real estate?
What's that?
Location, location,
That's
location.
Right. That's right. And I love it. Absolutely love it. Last question.
Okay.
Your wife, very involved with it. By the way, is this the Ross Perot? You found it?
I did.
Okay, watch this. He found the clip. Good for you, Rob. Let's just play that before I ask this last question.
I'm going to offer Rob 3 times he's making here. I'm bringing this son of a bitch back.
Stay away from our team, John.
Whatever you're paying him, it's not enough. Rob, let me handle your next contract, your money.
So, Rob, just so you know, you have John Morgan. You have a Teamster Union boss. You have all these people that want to negotiate on your behalf. Go ahead. Show this clip.
Thank you, the United States of America. We are going to win this election.
Can you describe the year 1992 and what that year means to you?
A defeat to losing to Bill Clinton. Clinton did a great job of campaigning on that I didn't get it, I was out of touch and all of that. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing the press, but there was almost unanimity in the press corps that I should lose and that they were for him, and that makes a huge difference.
Can you talk a little bit about Ross Perot?
No, can't talk about him.
Notice
He
that?
cost me the election, and I don't like him. Other than that, I have nothing to say.
And that's harsh for George Bush because he's a kind man.
I've never, ever, I watched this thing 15 years, whenever it came out, and I remember he was not willing to talk anything about Ross Perot. So
still stung.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, I'm sure Bill has seen this.
Oh,
I'm sure he's
everything.
seen it. Yeah, I'm sure he's because those two families, they were very close.
I got invited to Jeb had a retreat at Kennebunkport this year, and I was going to go, but I had a conflict. I've never been there, but I was going to go up just to see history, and I'll go next year.
Last question. Your family, 4 kids, very successful financially. Nowadays, you see the stats of young men don't want to get married, don't want to have kids. Young men don't know what it is to be a man nowadays, like they did maybe back in the days. It's a massive crisis. People on the left are talking about it. People on the right are talking about something that they're all gradually, Scott Galloway the other day was being interviewed by Ben Stiller, and he told Ben Stiller, like, listen, men are not having enough sex. They're having a hard time finding girls. They're having a hard time making kids. They're having a hard time with this whole marriage thing. What advice would you give to young men that are looking for a wife?
Well, first of all, what you just described is what they call beta boys. You ever heard of beta boys?
Of course, absolutely.
So that's who they are.
Yeah.
There are more women in dental school than men now. There are more women in law school than men now. There are more women in medical school than men now. Women are becoming, like in some animal kingdoms, the women rule the roost. Mm-hmm. And this whole beta boy thing is a crisis for America because, where are the men?
Mm-hmm.
I think in this day and time, I never was around for online dating, and I don't think I would want to do online dating. I like to go in and, do it live.
You and I both.
I don't need that. But at this day and time, the people aren't in bars. People are not drinking. I own a restaurant in Disney Springs called Wine Bar George, and, wine sales are down. And I got one of the great sommeliers, George Miliotis. If you ever go to Disney, call me and let me set up the greatest wine of your life. George Miliotis is like one of the top grand sommeliers in the whole world. But wine is down, booze is down, people aren't going out. So what I would say to people in business, there's a book called Never Eat Alone.
Mm-hmm.
And the concept of the book is if you're at home, you're not going to find business. I would give the same advice to my kids or to these kids. Get out, network, mingle, go, do something. I don't care if it's your church or your temple or wherever. Get out of the house and put the damn Nintendo paddles down and quit gaming in the basement at 25 and living at mom and dad's. Get up, get out, get busy.
As simple of an advice as that is, John, it is so profound. as you know, to you and I, we may look at it and say, what's the big deal? It is life-changing. I'm in Vegas the other day. Vegas is getting destroyed because they no longer have the traffic they had. Why? You can gamble online. You can swipe right online. You have no reason to go to Vegas. When they say whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, whatever happens in Tinder stays on Tinder. Like that is no longer like that complicated of a deal of what to do. But
the other thing I'll tell you, interesting stat. My son just got married in Maui. Now he's got off the couch. He was out. He's a mingler. But this book I wrote that's being edited, Life is Luck. I did a thing about who you marry. That's a big piece of luck. 50% of Americans, ended up in divorce. 62% of second marriages end in divorce. 73% of third marriages in divorce. But here comes the statistic.
Here we go.
Whoever gets married after 30, there's only 4% get divorced. So my advice to these young men is get it out of your system. Get it out of your system, because a lot of people get it out of their system after they've been married, and that doesn't work.
No, and by the way, it's crazy you say that. It's a lot of times because if you're maybe you're not good with the girls, you get married first, then you get a lot of attention, and you never played a lot. Later on, you're now getting attention.
Can you find my son's bride? Is it on Facebook? Anyway, he got married at 36. They went to Japan for Dan Morgan and Thaisa. That's me, but anyway, when they came back, let me see. Is there a wedding picture? There they are. When they came back from Japan, I said, Dan, how does it feel not to be a virgin anymore?
You said that too?
Yeah. Get it out of your system.
Well, in Japan, you can, my friends of mine that went to Okinawa in the military, they got it out of their systems many times. They almost didn't want to leave the system in Japan. Right. They wanted to stay there because they got treated so well. Yeah, it's out of control. John, I have to tell you, and I'm being very straight up, one of my favorite conversations of 2025 is you. And I'm being straight up.
Really?
Rob, how many times have you heard me say this at the end of the podcast?
Very minimum. I've been here 4 years. Very minimum.
Yeah. One of my favorite conversations.
Wow.
And I tell you, our guys are like, Pat, we got to get John. We got to get John. I'm telling you guys going to hit it off. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, just trust us. And then now they were right. One of my favorite conversations of the year.
Can I ask you one last
question? Of course, yes.
Favor.
Yes.
Would you have the Mossad take me straight to the plane? and don't frisk me on the way out?
Well, we just got to make sure we call Adam. Adam will make one phone call to AIPAC and Mossad, and they'll take care of it. But, sir, really, really an honor. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And by the way, go to Morgan & Morgan. We're going to put the website for the people. Will be below. Visit his site. Take care, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye, bye-bye. The FLB shoes. By the way, I am officially on, let me see this. I'm on day 57 out of 58 that I've worn these shoes. Love wearing these shoes every single day. I think Vinny's got it on. The other night we went to dinner. Vinny was wearing this black pants, white shirt with the FLB shoes. We walk into the restaurant, 7 girls lined up waiting to meet with Vinny.
One girl was crying. She was crying. She was shaking.
She was crying. She was shaking.
The shoes. I was like, I can't.
Are you Ringo Starr?
So for those of you guys that are asking about getting the shoes before Christmas for your husband or your sons or your friend, this is what you want to be thinking about. Size black and brown. Size black and brown. Let me see this thing here from Langhorne. So let's go to some partners or what's available. So size black and brown. If you want to get them, size 9, 10, and 11 are available to get before Christmas. White, all sizes are available except for 7, 7.5, and 8.5. Navy, 8, 9, 9.5, 10, and 11 are available before Christmas. Of course, after Christmas, shipment is coming. That'll be here New Year's. These things, we can't even keep these on the shelves, to be honest with you, with the shoes. Once you put them on, just go read the reviews, with people reading reviews, writing reviews when they bought them. Once you put them on, you'll realize why this has become as hot of an item for us as we expected it. Took us 2 years to do this, Rob. If you want to play the clip on that, we'll get into the stories. Here's the FLB shoes. Go for it. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast we had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. I love it. Design in Florida, 100% made in Italy. Folks, if you haven't yet ordered one, we had 2 guys yesterday that ordered 4 of all colors. And one of them was from UK. The other one was from Belgium or something like that, ordering these shoes. If you want to find out how it matches against everybody else, go to vtmerch.com. On the homepage, you'll see the shoes. Click on the link to go learn more about the shoes and place an order for your husband, for your spouse, for your son, for somebody maybe that works for your company as a recognition. And go to vtmerch.com to place your order.
You know, he's there at this little after party, and I find him in the back room, and people will never understand. I can sit here and tell you, like, what the paraphernalia that's in front of him and what he's doing and how it just, you know, intrigues me. And he'll go to the bathroom, you know, every 10, 15 minutes, like in public or if we're on the train or going somewhere. I don't think it was his bladder that took him to the bathroom. That consumption.
Right.
Like it just seems like, how are you still alive?
Have you at all gotten a call from the president?
Jill and I only want what is best for all of our grandchildren, including Navy.
I have not gotten anything. I don't feel like Hunter ever felt like he got the love he deserved from anyone. And I felt like he was constantly looking for that in everyone. And you're just thinking I'm crazy. I know. I see the look on your face.
So when I was first approached with the idea of interviewing London Roberts and having her on the podcast, I was a little bit skeptical. She is the mother of Hunter Biden's daughter. They had a child together. They had a full-on 1 year plus year relationship. And when the story became public and then eventually DNA supported that this is actually Hunter Biden's daughter, I didn't know whether this was going to be a good idea or not. I watched a couple of her interviews. She seemed very reserved. I watched her interview with Megyn Kelly. And then eventually I said, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Brought her down, sat down, spoke to her, and she started telling stories. She told a story of one time when they were hanging out together. There's a knock on the door. Door opens. Hunter's actually on drugs, totally messed up, opens the door. At the front of the door is President Joe Biden. And she explained the experience, what it was like when he came back into the room. You have to see what she said about it. She broke down exactly how they met, how long they were together, intimate moments they had together, drugs, what the moment was like on how long they didn't speak. And the first time around, when she showed up surprising him at the deposition with a box that you're going to have to see what's in the box. There's going to be a moment where you're going to feel the pain of a mother wanting the daughter, asking a question, when am I going to meet my father? And she's explaining a video where Hunter is reading a eulogy, and you're going to see this moment where, you know, the daughter is watching this video, and I'm not even going to spoil it for you. You have to watch it. This is not going to be what you expect this interview to be. This is not her trashing Hunter Biden, throwing the entire family under the bus. That is not what she did. She did not hold anything back. But your impression of why she thinks he is going through what he went through will be different. And there was a picture that was brought up when she said, I always wondered about this picture that's been public about the day President Biden was sworn in. With the timing of it seems a little bit odd for me. Why would anybody do it at the time that he did it? You're going to have to watch it for yourself. And I hope this somehow, some way causes President Biden to invite his 7th grandchild to the White House or Delaware to actually meet, because she does not deserve to live a life without ever meeting her grandfather. Whatever the son did, whatever the addictions he has, in this situation, London didn't do anything wrong, and President Biden's granddaughter, Navy, didn't do anything wrong. But we'll see what happened with it. If you haven't ordered a book, click on a link below to support it. However, having said that, enjoy this sit down with London Roberts.
seconds. Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got betdavid? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to hate it. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
All right, so we have an interesting guest. I think that's qualified, right, to say an interesting guest with an interesting story. She just released a book. Let me pull up this book here. Rob, can you go back up to it? So Out of the Shadows, okay, this is coming out in 2 months. My Life Inside the Wild World of Hunter Biden, okay? And that's London Roberts. London, it's great to have you on a podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
It's great to be here.
Yes, it's great to have you. So, obviously, you know, we've read about you. We followed the story. You know, we've kind of gone through, hey, are you going to claim, are the DNA results going to come back? Or is this real? Is this just a speculation? And then eventually DNA results come out. No, this is Hunter Biden's child, Navy. And then it even got to a point that I believe that the president had to respond to it last year, July 28. President Joe Biden made a statement acknowledging Navy, your daughter, his granddaughter, Hunter's daughter. Biden told people, our son Hunter and Navy's mother, London, are working together to foster a relationship that is the best interest of their daughter, preserving her privacy as much as possible going forward. This is not a political issue. It's a family matter. Jill and I only want what is best for our grandchildren, including Navy, right?
Right.
So now everyone knows. It's no longer, it's a conspiracy, it's a hit job, it's all this other stuff. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So let's back up on how you and Hunter first met.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I talk in the book about being invited to an after party with a friend who was invited to an after party by someone, you know, she had met. And, you know, you hear this name, Hunter Biden, but I talk about that time, you know, I was out, I think. I talk about the, like, vodka tonic breath, you know. I wasn't in the best state, and I go.
We've been there before, both of us. So.
Yeah, many a time.
Yeah.
And I go, not knowing who he is, and, you know, he's there at this little after party, and I find him in the back room, and people will never understand. I can sit here and tell you, like, what the paraphernalia that's in front of him and what he's doing and how it just, you know, intrigues me. And he's in these parrot boxer briefs that are brightly colored, and you're just thinking I'm crazy. I know. I see the look on your face.
In briefs.
At a party. He's just
you say party, but it's only like there's a few people there just kind of hanging out, having casual drinks. It's beautiful scenery.
Does it look like something like that?
No.
It's not that.
It's
the
actual
scarf
brief.
is too much. The scarf and that one is too much. The scarf.
I mean, I'm just showing it. But it's more briefs. He looks like he's wearing a thong
they're
here.
short. Like,
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
They're shorts.
So he's a little got some manners, at least first impression, you know, have a...
Well, he didn't. I kind of barged in on him, you know. He was in the back room by himself, and I kind of barged in on him. I heard something, and I heard him say something, a bad word, and then I walk in. Yeah.
And this is a house?
No, it was at Rosemont Seneca. So it was the penthouse of the House of Sweden. So it was the...
So what does this place look like, Rob?
It was beautiful.
Is it?
Nice.
Yeah. And it's like this glass, like cubicle building, and like the glass and everything had been like imported from Sweden. And
where is this at?
This is in D.C. It's on the waterfront.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In D.C. I don't know if it's considered Georgetown area, but it's definitely on the waterfront. Beautiful place.
And how long ago was this?
When I met him?
Yeah.
End of 2016.
Okay. We're talking 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Got it.
And my daughter's, she'll be 6 in August.
Oh, so the relationship went on for a while. It wasn't like it was just a, week or 2 weeks.
Oh, no, yeah. But I talk about, Hunter and his addiction and how he comes and he goes. Mm-hmm. That was part of, and it's a quality and a trait that a lot of addicts have. They show up randomly. Mm-hmm. And, there'd be times he might be gone for 2 to 3 weeks and then pop back up. And I talk a funny story in the book, for example, is like he pops back up. And he knew that, like, one of my favorite quotes is, not all who wander are lost. Mm-hmm. And he, like, comes in, he's like, look at my socks. And he pulls his pants up, and he has socks on that say, not all who wander are lost. And I said, could have fooled me. Where the hell you been? I thought you were lost for the last few weeks. I hadn't seen you.
And then boom.
But, yeah, that's how.
Is that the property?
It is.
Okay.
And the top floor up there is where his office was.
Okay, so now you go into the room, you're hearing say some curse words, and then what happens there? Is everybody that's at the party 5, 10, 15, 20 people? What's the size of the?
5 to 10.
Okay, so smaller groups.
Yeah,
smaller,
and they're
okay.
in like the front. Like there's like when you walk in like the hallway, and then there's like a conference room that goes out onto the balcony up there. And at nighttime, it's lit up beautifully. It's like got this like gold. You see, like the amber lighting. It's beautiful and it overlooks the Potomac, and you can see like the Kennedy Center and the Watergate, all that.
Now, why are you there? Are you there because you're there to hang out? You're there to party?
So
you're
my
there
friend had met a guy that night, and he was going there, and so she wanted to go, but didn't want to go by herself. And so she just called me up, and I
going there to what? Going there to just chill, just hang out, have a good time.
Like
no
everybody
motives.
had been
it's
out
not like,
having drinks and
you.
like just a place to chill.
What time is this? Is this like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, midnight?
Like midnight at 1.
I mean, typically at midnight, if I'm going to a house, penthouse, we're not going there to read books. You know what I'm saying? We're probably going to...
Everybody was drinking, just having a good time.
Got it.
But it wasn't like loud college party or nothing.
What was the first impression he gave you? Was he charming, likable, flirtatious? What was he like?
The first thing that like caught my eye was his eyes. He had the most beautiful eyes. But like, you know how they say... Shakespeare, is it, that says the eyes are the window to the soul? And you can tell by looking at him, he's somebody who is there's so much back there, it's complex, I guess you would say, and you can tell that.
Is it pain? Is it childlike? Is it help me?
It was almost like pain, and I talk about throughout the book, like I have this great empathy. It's probably a bad trait, but I felt it immediately looking into his eyes, and it was a like, hey, how are you? And he's like instantly just starts talking like he's known me forever. And we sit down and we engage in conversation. He's really easy to talk to. And so that was it.
That was the first time. Nothing happened first night.
No.
Okay. And conversation is about what? At this point, do you know who he is? Do you have an idea how important he is?
We're sitting there talking. He introduces himself and he tells me his name. And, I talk throughout the book about how, you assume people that use that amount of drugs and you see the pictures on the laptop and stuff, but he was like almost like a banker, as like organized as he had it set up. Like it wasn't
like he had OCD with drugs.
Like everything was like compartmentalized and everything. Like it's not like just...
So he's an organized drug user. He's a very structured, systematic.
Like he doesn't want the meth touching the coke. Like don't go near.
No.
You know what I mean? Like they can't touch each other.
So but the conversation, did you know this is the former, because at the time 2016 President Biden is a former vice president, right? So it's not like he is in the limelight as much as he's been the last few years, because at least father's out of the limelight, et cetera, et cetera. Is he telling you, you know who my father is? Like, is that?
No, it actually happened like midway through conversation. We had been talking. He asked my accent, and then mocks it, and he's laughing at it and stuff. And I'm mocking his because I always say that he has like this high pitched like twang that I guess it's a Delaware accent. I don't know, but me and my friends used to joke with him all the time about his accent. But as we're sitting there talking, I'm in this chair. And it's like a wooden type chair, and it has the arms kind of like this, but wooden. And there's a label on the side of it, and it's like a gold label, and it said Senator Barack Obama, and it had like the years that he served in the Senate. And I was is this Senator Barack Obama's? Is this the president's chair? And like I stand up and I'm looking at it, and then it resonates. Who his? I was like, how do you have this chair? How did you get this? He's like, oh, it was a gift, and he's kind of laughing it off like no big deal. And then when it resonates and I say, oh my God, is that your dad? Like, do you know him? And he's like, yeah, that's my dad. And it was just as humble. And I Googled it, of course. I'm like, no way. Yeah. And, it was.
So your friend isn't like, hey, we're going to go to this place and you're going to meet Joe Biden's son. That's not what she said when you guys...
No, we knew that there was somebody there of some form of
you don't
importance.
know
But
who?
we're also at the House of Sweden, so I didn't know if like it was some...
I got it.
And the friend, your female friend that came with the guy, was the guy in politics or in that world, or he was just a successful guy, or who was that?
I can't tell you much about that person. I don't know anything. I don't even know how he was invited because I didn't see anybody really interact with Hunter other than me and my friend.
So now when you guys leave, what's the next time you guys connect?
Well, he gets my number from Kindle. Well, I think I changed names in the book.
It's all good.
Okay. So he gets my number, and we actually have car trouble that next morning. And she calls the number to the party, and it's him. And he sends someone down, like from this little, there was a small a mechanic shop not far. And they came and fixed, she had something with her battery. They fixed it, and then, take off. He comes down there, and that's how, he ended up getting my number from her as we were talking. But we talk on and off for, like a week or two. And then I see him again. He comes, I think he was out of town. And then he comes back, and we met up.
Go ahead.
He asked, if he could see me. And so we met at, the House of Sweden outside. I didn't go in. He met me outside, and we went to just like a little Georgetown bar.
How was that?
It was just like it was the first night. Like the waitress comes over, she talks, and he's talking, and he's engaging in conversation with her. He talks to her something about her bracelet, and then I notice, he wears a silver bracelet. It's like a band, kind of like this, except it's wider. And I used to always think it looked like the "What Would Jesus Do?" like fish emblem all the way around it. And so he tells her some story about it, but I got lost in the moment because I'm sitting here like she has no clue who he is. Like he doesn't come off as somebody of any importance, or like my dad's the vice president, or my dad, now the president. Like, he didn't come off that way. And he's sitting there talking to this girl. She has no clue who he is, and he just seems so humble.
He seemed humble.
Yeah, you would think he would seem like entitled, kind of arrogant. And I guess that's what a lot of people claim that they see through the media and stuff. And he did not come off that way.
Maybe the wristband he had on that says WWJD, maybe it is "What Would Joe Do?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like his
well, it doesn't
father.
say.
Oh, okay.
It looked like
maybe
the
it is
fish
a J.
emblem.
What would Joe do? But going back to it, so the humble side. So you've seen a side that we've not seen. So and just listening to, even in the first 8 minutes, just listen to you, sounds like you like him. This is a guy you like.
I did.
Sounds like he's a likable guy,
Oh, yeah.
and you enjoyed your times with him.
Oh.
So you're actually attracted to him physically as well as personality-wise at this point. Okay.
I was. He seemed larger than life. When you're young, dumb, and naive. And I would never say that he took advantage of that. But he seemed larger than life, So, of course, as you're intrigued by that. Or I was, anyways. So
Can I ask you a question, Matt? Yeah. Were you so is he? Because I'm pretty sure because at the first time you saw him, he was doing drugs and there was drugs around him, paraphernalia. Do you think that personality, that talking, that hey, look at that, is that him acting high? Number one, and then number two, is there any security with him while he's going out at this time? This is 2016. No. He's just riding solo.
Yeah.
Okay. On you think is he partying at all? Do you know if he's high when he's hanging out with you? Because, he was at the house.
Well, see, I talked throughout the book about how he'll go to the bathroom, every 10, 15 minutes, like in public or if we're on the train or going somewhere, whether it's Union Station or wherever we're at, he'll go to the bathroom and then come back. And I don't think it was his bladder that took him to the bathroom.
That often. Yeah. I think even one time you said, I want to say you said this in the book, where it's, he, at one point he used to go and, drink a gallon of vodka a day, smoking crack cocaine frequently. There was days that he was doing it 15 to 20 minutes at a time.
Wow.
Gallon of vodka.
Yeah, and that's crazy, right? That consumption.
Right.
Like it just seems like, how are you still alive? And there were times we would talk about it, and he would tell me, I'll outlive you.
I'll outlive you.
Yeah, like
he's telling you.
Yeah, like he's like, yeah, nothing can bring me down. Like
so he feels he's untouchable.
Well, at that time, with everything that he was consuming, he didn't feel like it was like but that was his deflection. He deflected a lot. Like if you try to tell someone that they have an issue or they have a problem, he would deflect.
Would you
avoid or deflect?
Would you participate with him with the drugs, or no? Was it mainly him?
Well, no, I talk about, in the book how I'm no saint. I was young and, I partied a lot and drank a lot and tried a whole lot of things, but I never had an addictive personality. And so far, I think the only thing I've ever been addicted to is red flags.
Red flags?
Yeah. Red flag guys. Red flagged men.
Very, very interesting. So this time around, this is 2 weeks. He comes, he helps out, sends somebody to come help out your friend's battery in the car, get the number, and then you guys go out to a bar. You're having a good conversation. He's talking to the waitress or the bartender, just having small talk. He's wearing this bracelet. What would Joe Biden do? And then we're going through this whole thing. And at what point does it get intimate, where it's actually a relationship, physical relationship?
Just
that day at the bar.
Yes.
Okay.
We go to, I believe it was the Ritz-Carlton, in the Georgetown area. And we go there and I stay with him. He's got like this little open bar, that comes with his room. And we're just there talking. And I talk about how that was, my first hit of Hunter.
Your first hit of Hunter. You say that in the book.
That's the chapter.
Okay.
Name.
How was the first hit of Hunter?
Wait, are we talking about? What are we talking about?
we're talking
are we talking about the date?
Both. How was the first hit with Hunter? Was it something because at this point, is this guy a guy that's partied so hardcore? Because, there's certain people that go through phases of partying. Some people don't graduate it. Some people do for the rest of their lives, and they can't stop partying, right? But, just like anything else, you party a lot, you become better at it. Was he fun? Did you have a good time with him?
Oh, yeah. Very fun.
Okay.
Very, very fun. But there was, I don't feel like Hunter did it to party and to, didn't outgrow his party years or at Georgetown or whatever. He did it, I think, to try to numb this hurt that he had, and that he lost Bo. He's been through tragedies in his life. Mm-hmm. And I think that he just had so much. I've read, and I know this is probably something you shouldn't do is ever read somebody's journal. But I read one time in his journal, where he was talking about, it was in his office, and it was one of the days I had to clean. I was cleaning out his office at Rosemont Seneca. And, you have to pick what do I think he'll want to keep? What I think he'll not want to keep? And he had journaled and kept so much. And I flipped one open to see what it is. And of course, he's talking about the mind and how it's an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And he goes on talking about that. And it made me think that, a lot of times he did those things because there was just that idle mind in the devil's workshop.
Did he ever talk about his father with you? Would that come up or not at all? Would he say, did you ever ask the question, what's your relationship with your dad? Was there any talks about him?
Well, I mean, yes and no. There were times, I don't know if y'all remember the memes that came out.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of memes when Joe and Obama were in office, and they had all their bromance memes and stuff, which we thought were funny, and me and mine and Hunter's mutual friends would bring them up. We'd be on his laptop looking them up and laughing. Mm-hmm. And he didn't think any of those were really funny. Sometimes he'd mock us and laugh, but he's like, he doesn't like to feel like his family's being made a mockery of.
Was he protective of his father?
I would say so. I would say, I think that Hunter felt like a disappointment in a lot of ways to his family. And I think that bothered him really bad because he wanted to make his dad proud. And at one time he told me a story about growing up, how, he was the kid that would get in trouble and Bo was the saint, and they called him general or chief or something like that, or sheriff, or it was they gave him some name like that he talked about. And he said that, parents knew that, like, if their kids were with Bo, they would be doing the right thing. And he's like, and if they were me, they'd probably get in trouble. Like, he would make, little things like that I think bothered him, because I think that he did want to do good, but I think he just had so many demons.
Normally when you're in a situation like this, half the time you're not looking for money. You're not looking for fame. You're not looking for any of that stuff. You're looking to be left alone, and you want somebody to have a conversation with where you feel safe, right?
Right.
You want to be able to talk to somebody. Did he ever feel that level of comfort with you where he spoke to you and opened up?
Yes, but Hunter, like I talk about our first kiss in the book, and how, his lips, they were so hard, and it was like the shell, like he had walls put up, I'm sure, from everything that he's gone through, and who his family is, you probably have to do that. But like, for example, Hallie had told me one time that
Hallie?
This
is Bo's wife. Bo?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Widow. Yeah.
She had told me one time that she's like, Hunter trusts you. Like, whatever it is, like, I don't know why, but like he'll talk to you, and he'll trust you. Like, if you talk to him, if you can. And when she confided me and told me that, she told me that doesn't come easy. Like, that's something that, like, Hunter doesn't do.
I bet.
And so, that was another reason when I got pregnant, I felt like I'd let him down, because, it was this burden. I became a problem to him. And I was somebody that I felt and other people felt like, he could trust.
Very interesting. So from the first day you meet him upstairs in a penthouse to you getting pregnant, what's the timeline there?
Over a year.
Over a year. Got it. So in over the year, how many encounters or how many times did you spend time with them?
Oh, multiple.
10, 20, 50?
I don't know if I could put a number on it. Lots. I mean, he would show up and he'd be there for, 3, 4, 5 days, and then he might go ghost for 3 weeks.
Maybe hours.
And then he might be there for 3 weeks.
How many days would you say you spend with them? Days, if you were to say, in that 1 year? 50 days, 100 days?
Yeah, somewhere between there, probably.
Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of days. So if he's traveling, he's coming back to you, and you guys are together. And at this time, so a year later you get pregnant. When you get pregnant at this point with the relationship, has he ever, are you guys talking like you're his girlfriend? What's the conversation like? How does he view you? How do you view him? Who are you to him?
That's difficult to explain. And that's something that, I think reading the book is probably difficult to explain, because Hunter and I had been seeing each other, and then a couple months later, it comes out that he's dating his sister-in-law. Yeah. And I was shocked. And it kind of hurt. I didn't know, but I also knew that I probably wasn't the only. It's not like we were, this official relationship or anything like that. We were just, I talk about being like detached from my feelings, and, that I had commitment phobia anyways, always have. And so it's difficult to explain, but like get off the phone, I love you. I love you too. It was never, it was that connection was there, but there was never no like boyfriend, girlfriend. I kind of always knew after it came out in the tabloids, that him and Hallie were in a relationship, that it seemed more of like an open type relationship, and it seemed more toxic. Like they were more on and off too.
Now, does the media at this point know who you are, or they still don't know who you are? Like, is anybody following you? So how did he, as the son of a former vice president, how does he get around without people, paparazzi coming around? Like, did you ever have a paparazzi moment with him, or no?
No, there was one time that we were on our way to a bar in Georgetown. We were walking, and I remember a guy got his phone up, and I wasn't used to that. And so I didn't know that he was possibly taking a picture of Hunter. And I could tell that it bothered him. But that was nothing that I'd ever been aware of, or because I'm telling you, like, he would blend so well. Like, the time we'd go out to bars and he would just talk to people, and people wouldn't know who he is. All they'd say, is he's Hunter. Sometimes he'd tell him he's Robert.
Yeah.
So No, like they're people. He just blended.
It's interesting. When the part where you say, one day he told me, he said, "Hey, I think you and Hallie will get along. You'll like her a lot. You'll really like her." Was he kind of like insinuating that, hey, maybe the three of us can, have some fun together? Was he suggesting that at all, or no?
I don't know. That never happened.
Okay.
But
what do you mean that he never said you would like Hallie, or the fact that the three of you
the three of us?
Okay, that never happened. Okay.
Something together, like a throuple.
Some call it threesome, throuple, whatever you want to call it. Thruple. Yeah, totally. It happens every once in a while. No. But so that never happened with the three of you. Okay.
No, I've met her. But no, and I talk about through the book, like from the outside looking in, like I even tried to, be a mediator in one of their arguments. And it seemed, it just seemed more toxic. It seemed like two people that had relied on each other during a really dark time and then just kind of had to ride that wave.
Did you think at all it was weird that he is dating his, dead brother's widow wife?
When you say that, that's weird, right?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, for sure.
But young, dumb, naive, and I think that it was part of like the Hunter package. Like it just seemed normal. But yeah, like you say that. I know it sounds crazy.
So did you meet her? So here's my question though. When you met her, did you know that was his, like, were they already hooking up when you met her? Was it like, hey, this is Bo, my dead brother's widow, and they were already hooking up? Or?
I met her after it had already come out in the media that they were seeing each other.
Wow. Okay.
And he made it seem to me like it was sort of an open relationship, and he also made me aware that like the media might have the wrong impression of what went down, and so he kind of downplayed it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I don't think the media could. I mean, it is what it is. You're sleeping with your dead brother's wife. I don't think there's any way to spin it any way than what it is.
It's a little weird. So okay, so let's continue. So you find out you're pregnant. What do? You call him. You tell him we have to meet up. You text him. How did you tell him the news?
Well, so first I don't tell him for a while because I'm so scared. I'm nervous. Well, I say a while, but I mean it's just like a couple weeks. But I'm so nervous, and because you hear all these conspiracy theories about how they feel about politics and how they'll make these scandals just disappear or something like that. And then I felt like I had become a scandal, and so I was so scared to tell him because I knew him as Hunt. So we all called him. It was. But I talk in the book. I wasn't scared of Hunt. I was scared of Hunter Biden and his reaction. As who his dad is, and taking all that into consideration because now I'm a scandal. So it was tough. I didn't tell him at first, and then I have complications, and I think it was just stress-induced complications.
Sure.
Early in the pregnancy. And I actually invite someone to my house to have a conversation. And he is someone that I had met through mutual friends, and he's actually, a friend of Obama. And
well-known person or no?
Well-known in that area, maybe.
Okay.
Locally. Okay. But probably not nationally. And I tell him I need to talk to him about something. I need some advice. And he's like, okay, because I trusted him. And he said, okay, yeah, what? Just come to the office. I was like, no, I need can't be at the office. I don't want anything being reported. I didn't want to take that chance because you become paranoid. And so he came over to my house and was like, what's wrong? And I said, it was on his lunch break because he realized then that it was an emergency. And he's like, okay, like send me your address. I'll be right there. And so he comes in, he's like, okay, what's wrong? And I said, and now mind you, he's an attorney. He actually went and studied at Harvard with Obama, knew the family, knew politics well. And so I said, I'm pregnant. And he just looked at me and he said, well, I assume I know who the father is. I said, yes. And he's like, well, at least it's not a Clinton.
Oh, wow, really?
That's really the first thing he said.
He said, well, at least it's not a Clinton. And he said the Bidens are known to, embrace their family, love their family. They're very family oriented. And he said it could be a good thing, and people at that time that knew Hunter, knew his addictions, like maybe it could bring him out of this dark place. But it didn't. So
meaning if it is a Clinton, your life may be on the line type of a deal.
Yeah, he said it jokingly, but I mean.
Well, there's only one Clinton you can get pregnant with. And Hillary nor Chelsea can't get it done, right? So, okay. So he's telling you this. Is he at all getting to a point where asking you whether you want to keep the baby, whether you want to abort the baby? That conversation is not at all being had.
No, I had not had that conversation yet. I talked to him, this guy, this attorney, and then I also talked to I call it our amoeba pack, and it was me and we had two other friends that we'd hang out with all the time with Hunter. I brought them around him a lot because I trusted them. And I talk about the friends that I would bring around him had to be people that I trusted because I didn't want them to go off and, tell everyone about what he's suffering from and this demon on his back. And so I tell my closest one, and of course she's just like, oh my God. Like, it's just, how did this, well, we all know how it happened, but at the same time, it's just like.
Science.
Right.
You got to trust the science. That's what she says. So,
but why?
Yeah.
And so it was a very confusing time. She tells me, she says, I'll go with you. And I avoid him. I talk throughout the book, like I avoid him, and he even contacts her and my other friends, like, what is going on? And so finally, I go see him, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell him. And I take my friend with me and as backup. She's like, okay, she's like, I'll make the move to go to the bathroom, and when I make that move, like,
she's hung out with him. So is this the same girl from date one, or is it the same girl that you guys went? Okay.
Yes.
So she's safe. He feels safe around her. Okay, got it.
And so we're all in there just talking and stuff, and he mentions, like, what's been going on? Like, what's this big thing? And she finds her cue, like, to go to the bathroom. She just, like, kind of looks at me, and I don't know if are you fans of, like, the Friends TV show at all?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So big
We're
fan
not
of
40,
that.
so we follow. He watched every episode. So
me too, multiple times. Okay. I always say that when I tell him, it was a lot like when Rachel tells Ross that she's pregnant.
Okay.
And it's like that. Just look that.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, the what?
And he doesn't say anything, and I'm just like, and it's yours, by the way, like, if there's any question, but I'm just, like, gonna let you process that. And he's like, honey, I know it's mine, like, and goes into this, I know it's mine. I want you to know, I respect whatever decision it is you make, and I'll be there spiritually, financially, mentally, whatever it is. He's like, have you thought about this? Have you, what do you want? And I told him, I was like, abortion would be something that would be off the table. Mm-hmm. And I said, the only reason I would ever consider it would be because of who you are. And that's not, I wouldn't be able to live with myself for that. Mm-hmm. And he was totally okay with it. What do I need to do? What can I do?
He's saying this to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, it seemed that night was great. And then, there were a few nights after, but it was, I start going and having these crazy amounts of ultrasounds done at Sneak a Peek because I'm like, it can't be real. Like,
you don't believe that this is really happening?
No, like the night that I took the test, like the next day or that next week, whenever it opened, I go to have an ultrasound done. So I'm like, this can't be right. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way God would put me in this situation. And I take my friend with me, my trusted friend, and she laughs to this day because, the woman does the ultrasound and she tells me, here's, shows me what's what and everything. And I'm like, are you sure? But are you sure? And she finally, like, she's offended. She's like, I've been doing this for 25 years.
It is.
You're pregnant.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, but it didn't seem real. And it was really hard for me to accept, I felt like. And I did a lot of that before I even met with him.
So at this time, No weird friends being sent to have a conversation with you. You sure you want to do this? Life's going to be very difficult. Do you want the scrutiny? Do you want the pressure? Is anybody, not Hunter, is anybody else trying to influence you to make a different decision?
No.
Nobody.
No.
You thought about it. Where did you go? You just thought about it.
No. Like I think about, me and my friend having that discussion. We have a discussion one night in the car.
Your friend?
Well, and his friend, the same one.
Okay.
From
the Barack Obama guy.
No, the mutual friend, the girl.
There's no...
The one from the first night.
The two of you.
Yeah,
it's
just
you and
the
her.
two of her.
Okay, got it.
The two of her.
Got it.
Two of us.
Yep.
And, we talk about it, and I kind of say the same thing that I said to him. Abortion would be off the table for me. And, like, the only way that even comes to mind is because of who you are. And that I can't. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I did that. I couldn't do that.
Now, when you've made this decision and he knows, from the first moment you meet him to getting pregnant, that's 1 year. From the moment you're getting pregnant, you find out to telling him is 2 weeks. You meet with the Barack Obama friend from Harvard. He tells you the Bidens are better than the Clintons, which is what a weird thing to say, but great. So he seems like a gentle guy that he's not trying to persuade you to do otherwise. Then you and your friend have a meeting. Then you and your friend go and tell him. Then he says, I'll support you spiritually, financially, morally, in every way. Then you go do the ultrasound. You piss off the nurse. She kicks you out.
Well, I actually did the ultrasound like before I met with him.
Okay.
I did it like
reassure.
as soon as I found out because I'm like, this can't be. And I've got all these tests laid out on the table that say positive. And I'm like, no.
Did anything with the relationship change gradually from you saying you're going to keep the baby? Was there still physical encounters, or did it kind of like he's no longer available, he no longer sees you as much, or nothing's changed yet?
No, we were still seeing each other.
Okay, got it.
You know, how the couple days, and then I might not see him for a few, and I'm texting him, and, one of the times I saw him, I think when the relationship changed is when, I told him, he was staying in Annapolis at the time. And I had told him that I would do a sneak peek to hear the baby. It was like the first time to hear the baby's heartbeat. And he should be there, You said you wanted to support me, right? And so I tell him, and then my friend also, hey, don't forget. Because she had seen him, she had to go pick something up or something. And she seems like, hey, don't forget, it's like tomorrow, or it was the next day, or might have been that morning, I can't remember. And I showed up. And I listened to my baby's heartbeat, and he never showed. Never got a call, nothing. And then it was like just days later, it was an apology. And I know I was wrong, and I'm just, in a bad place, and I'm so sorry, excuses.
And then did he continue seeing, or was it a steady decline, or was it a sudden decline?
It was a steady decline at that moment, probably for just a little bit, and then it was nothing.
Done. So when is the last time you and him had a text exchange?
Oh, what would be the date? Probably March, I believe it would be.
Year.
Oh, I thought you were talking about during that time.
Well, yeah. I mean, when it was a sudden done, like, is he at all not responding back to you to nothing?
Oh, that was while I'm pregnant.
Yes.
That timeline, right?
Yes.
So find out I'm pregnant. It's like first week of January. Mm-hmm. It's the steady decline. It would be March or April, last I heard from him.
Till today?
No, not till today. Just during that time.
So from March, April,
yes,
last time you hear from him, to you having the baby and actually delivering the baby, do you hear from him at all during that time?
No, that's what I'm saying. From the March, April time that I spoke with him and talked with him to having the baby, no communication.
So 10 months, nothing.
Yeah, so it's like 6 months, right? Like give or take 7, 8 months.
Right.
Okay. So then the baby is born. Does he at all come to want to see the baby, or not at all?
No, there's no conversation with him.
So from that March, April till today, you guys have never spoken, never text, no phone call?
No, not till
nothing.
today. But at that point, like,
Okay.
the baby's born. He is not. He
around
did not,
at all. So when is the first time after the baby is born that he calls, reaches out, or wants to see the baby?
He doesn't until the child support dispute last year. That was the first time I surprised him at his deposition. You have depositions, and I had done mine that week, and his was like on that Thursday or Friday. Well, it just happened to be Father's Day that weekend. So I set my child down, and at this point, she's 4 going on 5, and she knows who her dad is. she doesn't quite understand why he's not there, but she sees other children with a mom and a dad. And so, you know, I in the book, I put all these stories about the moment I had to tell her about her dad, how she reacted, you know, the hard questions that I had to answer to her. And back to the deposition, I go, but a couple nights before I tell her, I say, and I don't tell her that he's coming to Arkansas, because how do you tell her? Yeah. I've been making these excuses that, well, he just lives so far away and he's so busy. How do I tell her he's coming to Arkansas and I'm going to see him and you still never met him? And so, and you know, I'm also telling her, you know, but he loves you from a distance. I tell her that I instill that in her. And I had told her, you know, how great he was. And because I don't want, if she hates him someday, or if she has any ill feelings towards him someday, it will be because of him and not because of me. I won't do that to her.
You don't give me those vibes at all. Like I don't sense any vindictiveness or animosity towards him from the second you came to now, even off camera. You've been very straight up and sincere about how you feel about him. So now, at this point, when you guys are when you guys are talking about the what do you call it, the child support, this is when you agreed to go from $20,000 a month to $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right?
So it was that deposition. It all changed that deposition when I showed up, because I told Navy that, you know, I said, it's Father's Day weekend. If you want to make your dad something, we'll send it to him. I didn't tell her I was going to personally. You
didn't take Navy though. You didn't take Navy.
I couldn't take her to a deposition.
That would have been traumatic for her.
Yeah,
okay, so you
probably all of us at that point.
No question. But more importantly, the child is, you know, it's going to be a bigger effect on her. Of course, on everybody, but on her it'd be different because it's younger. It's going to have an impression on her. So you see him. He doesn't know you're coming. Deposition. What's his reaction when he sees you?
Well, so I get there and I've got this box. I let Navy make him something. And she made him, she drew him a picture of him and her. And they were as potato heads. And I had to write as potato heads because they were both orange. And I thought, this looks real similar to Donald Trump. And I don't want him to get the wrong impression. So I want to let him know that these are potato heads and that's the color she chose.
She has good taste.
And so I have to write it, you know, in the corner, me and my dad as potato heads in quotation marks.
So funny.
And I gathered pictures of her from the first 5 years of her life, almost 5 at the point. And I put it all in this big white box. And I walked in depositions. My attorney walks up to me before, and, you know, Hunter's in the back with his attorneys. And he says, Hunter had no clue you were coming. They're flustered. They don't know why you're here. And I was like, well, what he doesn't know, I guess he thought that I was there to listen to the deposition. But what he doesn't know was I was there just to give him that box. I told my daughter that she could make him something for Father's Day. And that was the first engagement that she could ever have with her father. And it meant the world to her to sit there and watch her. She made him a bracelet. Mm-hmm. You know, and that itself, I was going to get that box to him one way or another. At the time? She was fixing to be 5. She was 4.
So she remembered. You were at, you know, it's an age where it's you know, you can communicate at this point. You can make stuff. You can do, I mean, my kid's doing it at 2.5, let alone 5 years old. Okay. So what's his reaction when you give him the box?
Well, he comes in the room and I'm sitting there with my attorneys and they're telling me they don't understand why you're there. Well, there was a couple reasons I was there. The box. And then there was some things it was made public that, you know, he had no recollection of me and things like that. And so there was some questions I wanted answered. And I wanted my attorney to ask some of those questions. And I wanted to be there and have him sit across the table from me and say it to my face. And so I wanted to first, you know, give the box. So he comes in. He's like, hey, how are you doing? Good. Yeah. Fine. And he sits down and, you know, my attorney says, off the record, there's something my client wants to give, you know, Hunter. And I stand up and I remember, you know, I haven't talked to this man. I've seen him in court one time. And I remember thinking that he didn't look like the man that I once knew. And I said, you know, call me Trump. Where's Hunter? That does not look like Hunter, that man that I saw in court that day. And I of course, avoided him. But I remember standing up with the box And my hands were shaking and my voice was shaking. And I told him, I said, this might not mean anything to you, but it means the world to our daughter. And that's why I'm here today, to make sure that you get this. And I told him, I said, she's made you some things. I've also got pictures in there of her, of the first 5 years of her life. And I also have a bunch of videos. I have a folder completely in my phone that's for HB, to send anytime. If he wants videos, anything. He's missed out on so much. And she's absolutely spectacular. You have children, it's you can't get that time back. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to do that for her. And I handed him the box, and you can tell this look on his face. He's like confused, like, is this a trap? Like she's being nice. And he just gets it and he says, thank you. And then he sets it on the shelf behind him. And I'm like, you're not even going to open the damn box? So I got offended. I was mad. And then my attorney starts the deposition asking, some tough questions. And finally, like Hunter, he just looks at me and he's like, can we talk? And I said, yes, I would be open to that. And I was actually texting my attorney beside me, like, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm really uncomfortable at this point. Like, I'm ready to go. She's like, you can walk out whenever, but stay right now. Because she felt like, I guess as an attorney, she sees that he might be getting flustered in his questions or whatever it was. So then he asked to talk. And so we go to a room, just the two of us. And there was crying, there was laughing, there was,
He's crying. Both of you guys are crying.
Both.
Okay.
And as soon as I walk in, I talk about, like, he just embraced me in a hug. And yeah, I just immediately started crying. I said, I've hated you. and that's something that's so hard because, you see everything that your child deserves and she's not getting that. And it causes you to hate that other person. And at that time, like I said, Hunter, I've hated you. I've hated you for years. I said, this little girl, she prays for you every night. Do you know that? This little girl asks about you every day. She'll come to me, Mommy, what's my daddy's voice sound like? And you know what I do? I find your eulogy that you give at your brother's funeral, where she can see, she can see love in her father. Wow. And that's what I showed her. And what's the tough part is she watches it. And in the eulogy, he says, I love you, I love you, I love you. And that was what he heard after the tragedy, after the car accident. Those words to him, I love you, I love you. And I'm watching my daughter watch this on an iPhone screen. And she says, I love you, and kisses the iPhone screen. And I'm going to have to sit there, and try with this huge lump in my throat, trying to be strong for her and let her know, see, he's a man full of love. And I want her to see the good in him. I do. I want her to know she comes from a good place and the possibilities that she has. And that was very tough for me because at the time, I hated him. I hated him for what he'd done to me, and I hated him for what he had done to our daughter. And that's the whole point of the book, because forgiveness is a burden that, you hang on to. And if you don't forgive, whether they apologize or not, you that burden's on you. And I had to forgive. And that day when we sat in that room, and another thing I brought up, I told him, I said, my daughter spent a lot of time making you a Father's Day gift, and you set it on the shelf behind you. And he says, I was not about to open that box in front of your attorneys and be vulnerable in front of them. But again, this is about our child. And so he has them go get the box, and they bring it through there. And we go through pictures, and, we're laughing at like certain pictures of her and everything. Of course, he's seeing himself. She looks so much like him.
Eyes are the same.
Oh, same eyes. Absolutely. And mannerisms. My friend that comes in, the mutual friend between the two of us, she'll come in twice a year. And she says, every time I come, I get PTSD. It's like you and Hunter going back and forth 24/7. But there was forgiveness given that day. And I remember we stayed in there for a long time. We went through that box. We talked about Navy. And, I can remember him telling me as he was crying, you don't know the remorse and the guilt that I've lived with every day that she's been born. And I told him, I know that you were in a bad place during that time. I get that. But when do you make it right? At what point? You're sober now. You're standing in your truth. And you have a little girl in Arkansas that loves you, prays for you, talks about you. She'll tell you her grandfather is the president. Has she ever met him? No. Is she proud of him? She used to walk around and, Arkansas has a lot of conservative people. My family has a lot of conservative people in it. And she's always, like Dad says, she's born to be an attorney because she'll argue with a wall. She'll argue with anybody. But, if there was anything about, like, the election that was going on, the campaign, she was, 2? And she's walking around saying, no, Trump, let's Joe, baby. Like, that's what she would say. Let's Joe, baby, instead of let's go, baby. Yeah. And, of course, my family's all like, ha.
Yeah. Get her out of here. Get her out of the living room.
But she has supported him and his family from a distance, and he's never known that. And all, I think that him and his family has seen was this toxic litigation around her, but that was just me wanting him to take accountability for his child. That's it. I don't care. The night that my attorney, I talk about, this story in the book, the night that my attorney called to tell me the child support and like the amount, I was floored. I was fine with the temporary child support, which is less than what he's paying now. And he had to be at depositions, that next morning during the paternity suit, to settle and he didn't want to come answer my attorney's questions. So the night before, his attorney's calling, like, how can we settle this right now? Mm-hmm. Of course, my attorney puts it off. Well, I'm actually having dinner with my kids, so I don't know if I get done in time. I'll call you back, but if not, I'll see you all at 8:00 in the morning. And it was, I settled that night, and I would have never guessed that amount. I would have never came out and flat out asked for any amount. I can't tell you. I can remember my attorney asking, like, what amount are you okay with? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what's normal?
Any motive on the amount of money to ask for? That's not even something you're thinking about.
It was not. I know people think that, and they think that was the main reason. The entire reason was for accountability. But I talk about, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. But hell hath no greater fury than a woman or a mother whose baby is being scorned. And that itself, was there anger in me at that time? A lot. So I didn't care.
From that moment on till today, have you guys had communication? Has he seen Navy again or no?
From that moment on, we decided that, he would engage with her in art. They could start off doing like a Zoom call once a month. She gets to pick out what painting, and he'll send it to her and whatnot. And he believes the two most important things to him is art that got him out of that tough time. And family. He said art and family is what got him through that tough time, and that's what got him to recover, got him over that addiction. And so he said, what better way to get to know my daughter than through art? It's helped me in other ways. And I'm all for it. That's great. That's wonderful. And so when we settled that day, I go home, and it's Father's Day weekend. And Father's Day weekend, my daughter doesn't bring it up, but she hadn't, but she's always known Father's Day weekend, we celebrate Pappy. And that's my dad. And, of course, been a great figure in her life, a male figure. She does have that. And we're both blessed with that. And I get to tell her that Father's Day, I said, hey, today's Father's Day and we celebrate Pappy, but I sent your gift to your daddy. And guess what? You might not get to talk to him right away, but this Father's Day, you got your dad. I was like, and you're going to start getting to talk to him. Would you like that? And she's like, can I call him right now? And I'm like, well, whoa, moving a little quick. No, I said, we'll call when the time is ready. Mm-hmm. We're going to work out some details. Let us work that out. I said, but this Father's Day, you got your daddy. And that was just, the look on her face. Just like the look on her face the first time she saw him on Zoom call. It's worth every penny, any amount of child support.
But you guys don't see each other, but he does a Zoom with her once a month.
Yes, it started off once a month, and then it became like every week, and then sometimes a couple times a week. And that's something that like I applauded him on. He would be, of course, we all know he had so much going on in Hunter Biden's world, always. But this time, there's a lot of things that he's having to take accountability for now, and he'll come out of like a meeting, with his attorneys or something, and just to FaceTime her for a little bit and let her know that he loves her, and they've created that bond through Zoom.
When you were writing this book, did you tell him, hey, Hunter, I'm writing a book? Did he know or no? He was surprised.
That was the tough part. When we did our, child support dispute last year, there was a question that was brought to me. Are you writing a book? Do you have any? Makes
sense. Lawyers would ask. Is he asking or the lawyers are asking it?
The attorneys were asking sort of questions that, come back and forth. And I said I'd not canceled that out because I feel like I have a right to tell my story as Navy's mother. And I made that clear. But no, at the time, there was nothing in place. And, once I started getting a lot of messages. And throughout all of it, there were the hate messages and the people that hated me and disagree with me, and that's completely fine. But then I started getting messages like women who have gone through similar situations, but it hasn't been in the public eye because it's not a political family or anything. And they talk about how, my story inspired them and how now, they fought for their child, and now their child has a paternal side and a maternal, and like they're good influences in their life. And so it inspired me to tell my story, because I think that there's a lot of women that find themselves in a situation when they get pregnant that they become a burden, more of, celebrating it, oh, we're married, we've wanted kids. And then you also have those women that get pregnant and it's like, oh shit. And, it's a good story for those women to know, there's light at the other end of the tunnel. But writing the book, you sign that clause with your publishing agency and all that stuff that you can't tell people about it until a certain date. And so I wasn't able to tell Hunter until right before it was released.
When? Like a couple months ago.
Right before, yeah. Has it been that long?
I don't know.
Whenever it was released to the media that I was
a few weeks ago. Then.
Okay, yeah, I think so.
So then did he ask you, hey, can you send it to me for me to read it, or not at all?
No.
They don't have the transcript. They haven't.
No.
Okay, got it.
No, and
are you at all worried about it when he reads it, or no?
No.
Not at all.
No,
You're
I
resolved.
would. My thing is, I want him to know what I went through, and I mean, of course, I want everybody to know what I went through, right? You're wanting to share your story, you want to help somebody, maybe impact someone's life, but I want him to know what I went through, and I want him to know the hard conversations that I've had with our daughter, and how long it's taken me to forgive, and how long it has taken, because everyone says, you give him so much grace. Well, it's been a long time coming, because yeah, I've stepped back and I've not said anything, and I've been a mother to our child and a father to our child. I've had to play both those roles, and there's been some hard times and some dark times that I talk about through the book, and I was alone. And I understand that sometimes during my dark time, he was in a dark time too, somewhere else. But he didn't show up for me, and he didn't show up for our child for so long that, no, this is a story. I actually write a letter to Hunter. You read the book. Did you read the book?
No.
Oh, there's actually a letter to Hunter.
Get the book, Rob? I don't remember anybody sending me a book.
No, they wanted us to sign an NDA before we got it, so we held off.
Okay.
I end the book, coming out of the shadows, and I write a letter to Hunter in there with forgiveness, a forgiveness letter. Like I said, whether there's an apology or there isn't, and we're just going to move past it like it never happened, that's not my burden to bear anymore. There has to be that forgiveness.
So, okay. By the way, I'm willing to bet thousands of men are watching this who have maybe experienced something like this in a much lesser, Hollywood script type of way that Hunter Biden takes it to a level that he's the GOAT on what he's done in this area. And they're sitting there saying, man, I'd love for my baby mama to watch this, to learn a few things from you, because my baby mama didn't have this level of grace. Meaning, your level of grace you've given to Hunter, let me tell you, it is, I know I'm going to get text messages and calls and manects of people saying, wow, they were not expecting that level of grace from you. But let me ask you this. So, okay, the love of a grandfather is different than the love of a child. Like the way you love your kids will be different than the way you love your friend, will be different than the way you love a wife or husband,
right?
Than sibling. That's a different kind of love, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The love of a grandchild, I don't know what it is, but I see and I witness through my dad or my mom or, through other grandparents, where it's kind of like, that's your world.
Well,
have you at all gotten a call from the president to want to FaceTime with her, with Navy, to speak to her? And Jill, anybody, have you gotten any calls?
No, I have not. I have not gotten anything. But I'll say this, the love of a grandparent is completely different. I tell people all the time, my mother never picked me up from the dinner table and hugged me and kissed me and told me how proud she was because I finished my plate of noodles. She's never done that. She does it to Navy, and I'm just like,
hey, how about me?
Yeah, where was that?
Where were you?
Yeah. So yeah, that love I think is completely different. And so many people tell me when they see pictures of Navy or when they're around her, they're like, oh my gosh, like she looks so much like her father. And it's like, yeah, she does, and I embrace that. I get that, but the love you have for your child, and then can you imagine your child having a child out there that looks so much like those years, that you were looking at recently.
And you don't want to call to meet or see or invite or just say, hey, would you mind coming to the White House? We just want to see. You've never gotten a call from the president to invite anything. Well, who knows? The one thing about life is, sometimes it takes time. Because you may get a call, this goes out there, somebody sees it, they're like, hey, we'd like to see you. They invite you to the White House or they come and see Navy. That would be interesting. To the average person who doesn't know Hunter the way you know Hunter, like to the average person that, politically, whether they're like, you understand, the president is this, and Hunter is a drug addict, and he's done this, and he's ruined so many people's lives, and there's strong opinions and emotions to him. What is your impression, not of Hunter, what is your impression of Hunter's father, okay, where sometimes you're dating somebody, and you meet a girl, you're like, oh my God, this girl's got a lot of problems. And then you meet the parents, you're like, oh, no wonder you have a lot of problems. I don't blame you. These are who raised you, right? You meet a guy, you're dating a guy, you're like, wow, this guy's very stable. How is he? The other day I watched a 12-year-old kid give a speech. You thought this guy was a president at 12 years old. And then you meet the parents, you're like, okay, I'm not surprised that this behavior is happening. Did you ever ask yourself saying, how did this guy become this kind of an addict? What did his father do? What did the family do to influence this behavior? And maybe from your end, what is your impression of Hunter's father?
Well, I'll say this. To begin, I always felt like Hunter was who he was because of the things that he had gone through. And I didn't ever think it was so much on his father's end. I thought it was more the tragedies that he had gone through with, his mother and losing Bo. I feel like those really impacted his life. And his father was sworn into the Senate by their hospital bed. That I don't really know how I would feel about that. I don't know if, he felt like, I don't feel like Hunter ever felt like he got the love he deserved from anyone. And I feel like he was constantly looking for that in everyone. And I talk about that throughout the book. I feel like he yearned for some form of love, just like my daughter yearns for that love from her father. And so I always put it off on Hunter was the person that he was because of the tragedies that he had gone through. And that's more so of what I thought. And you asked what I thought of Joe as well. There's a story in the book, and I'm in Wilmington with Hunter, and we're at Bo's house together, and it's just us. And one of my friends there, but I talk about there was a knock at the door, and Hunter, first he doesn't hear it, and I'm like, Hunter, someone just knocked on the door. He's like, what? Someone's at the door, and he's in the middle of his addiction, and he goes out there, and I talk about how I go and I'm like peeking through this window trying to see like who's out there, what's going on, and I can see Hunter's back is to me, and it's Joe, and he's looking at Hunter. And I'll never forget the look on his face. And it was such a look of helplessness and hurt.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, because he's seeing his son in the state. And, he had to know, even though he's not like using right there in front of him, he knew what state he was in. And, I think Hunter has said several times how, his family tried to step in and help so many times. And they had a quick conversation out there, and shortly after, Hunter came in. You could tell he was affected by it. He didn't want to let his dad down. But the look of hurt on Joe's face as he watched, and I don't know what Hunter was saying to him, and I'm sure making up excuses or something. They had some sort of, they had something to do that day, some family thing that he had to be at, and I was supposed to take one of his vehicles back to the Annapolis house. And it was a short conversation, but I sit there just in awe of the look on his face. 'Cause I wasn't a parent at the time. Also, I was pregnant at the time but didn't know it. And, now looking back on that, I can't imagine. I've seen that painful look on his face where, he's hurting for his child and there's nothing he can do. Because Hunter made that very clear during his addiction. This is my addiction. There's nothing you can do to make me stop it. I'll quit when I want to quit. And I saw that look of hurt. Now it really resonates because I talk in the book, Navy gets a lot of Hunter's traits and great ones. He does have good traits, I promise. But one trait that I hope she never gets is that addiction that he battled. I never want to have to look at her the way that Joe looked at his son that day with that hurt and just feeling hopeless, helpless. You can't save him. This is a battle that he might not win.
What did you mean when you said sworn into Senate by bedside? What did you mean by that?
Well, I know that if, that tragedy had happened,
With his first wife dying, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Right.
And then, Hunter and Bo were in the hospital, and he was sworn into Senate by their bedside. I know that if that tragedy would have happened, I don't know if I'd have been able to be sworn in that day.
Well, let me get this straight. So did Hunter tell you about this? Did he ever share this?
No, I've seen it. It's been like on the internet or something.
So he never brought it up to you. This is something that you've seen independently yourself.
Yes.
So what you're saying is your wife, your bedside, your kids are there, and you're being sworn in instead of saying, give me some time to mourn before I do this. Is this the one you're talking about?
Wow. Yeah.
And who is in this picture right now, Rob?
That's either Hunter or Bo right there on the bed, I believe. And I think, Hunter, I was actually told this as I wrote the book. Hunter didn't really talk about that time. And now he talked about his mother. There was a time, we were on the train, and I tell a story about how we're on his laptop, and he shows me pictures of his mother. And one of them, it was such a candid picture of her, and she's like in this bathing suit, and she's beautiful. And he was just, mesmerized by it. And, you could tell that love for his mother. And I had heard, as I was writing the book, that picture always kind of bothered me. Because it's like you said, I would have probably taken that time off.
So, Rob, can you go back and to read the details below? You had something. I'm curious to know what it says to us because I'm now curious. I've never seen these before. Soon after Delaware Senator Joseph Biden was elected November 20, 1972, an automobile accident claimed the lives of his wife and infant daughter and put his 2 young sons in a hospital. To allow him to remain at children's bedside, Secretary of Senate Francis Valeo traveled to Wilmington to issue the oath of office to the new senator, a ceremony Valeo recalled in his oral history interview. Your wife just died. Your kids are in the hospital.
Wife and your daughter and your infant daughter's dead.
His little girl just died. She was, I believe, 9 months old.
How many days prior to that event is this swearing take?
It had to be days, right?
I'm not
days
certain.
After the
I'm not certain, but they're still there.
Now,
I know.
I have to know now, Rob. I have to know this now. This is so. Let me. Yeah.
She died December 7th. What's it?
18th,
1972.
Okay.
Well, that doesn't make any sense because this says was elected. Elected November 1972. Let me see when he was actually sworn in.
When was he sworn in?
Yeah. She died.
What exact date was Joseph Biden sworn into Senate? That's all you got to look. What day?
Look, you see the pictures of them.
There's
I mean,
2 other photos. I saw the ones in the middle.
Hunter was what? That happened in 72. Hunter would have been like 2, and Bo would have been 3. That's tough.
Well, January 5th, 1973, December 18th, it's 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So 12 days, 13 days, December 31st. So 18 days later, they're still at the hospital. You're being sworn in. You won November. And can you go back to the other picture, Rob? Can you go back to the other picture? Yeah, can you go to that one? What? That's Hunter and Bo.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Is that his leg broken?
I think.
Yeah, that's a leg in a sling.
Yes, and I think I was told, actually, as I was writing the book, I don't know this for certain, but I was told that Hunter suffered a traumatic brain injury.
Hunter did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
They said that was some sort of public knowledge. I did not know that until, I was writing this book, and one of the women that was kind of helping me organize things and whatnot, she said it's actually been found that Hunter suffered a traumatic brain injury at that time.
Wow.
And, that apparently has some sort of way of leading people to addiction as well.
He never talked about any of this stuff. Never. Got it.
No, he never talked about the accident.
I mean, honestly, when you're at that level, I don't know if Hunter trusts anybody.
Right.
Did you ever see any of his friends where he's like, this is my guy that I trust no matter what? Like, was it Haley? And maybe I'm saying the name incorrectly. Was it another friend? Was it a relative? Did he have anybody that he 100% trusted?
No, the only one friend that I'd met a couple times was Devin Archer.
Mm-hmm.
And, I talk about that throughout the book and going out with them one time. And he seemed, I don't know what, Devin was going through something at the time, just kind of seemed down. Hunter was trying to cheer him up.
So Devin Archer was the only one that you feel Hunter trusted the most?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say trusted the most. I don't know. I know they were friends. That's how, it was presented to me from Hunter. And then when I met him, he seemed to,
And just for context, Devin is the one from Burisma Holdings. From April 2014 to October 2019, Archer and his business partner, Hunter Biden, served, if you go to the Wikipedia, served on the board of Burisma Holdings, one of the largest private natural gas producers in Ukraine. And this is the part when Hunter Biden was asked, Rob, you can pull this up, when he was asked, if your father wasn't a vice president, do you believe you would have been sitting on the board? And he says, probably not. So this is also at a time where he's going through all this controversy when you guys are together. Did you ever have interactions with Devin or no?
Yes.
Was he? It seemed like a stand-up guy.
Devin, a couple times. Yeah. I think. I don't remember the exact timeline as to when I met him, but you know, he was going through something, and Hunter was trying to cheer him up, and he seemed to himself. He seemed
Devin or Hunter?
Devin.
Okay.
And you know, he seemed down about whatever was going on.
Do you remember the month?
I don't.
Was it 19 or 20?
The year?
Yeah.
Oh no, it would have been 2017.
Oh, 17. So I mean, this is the thick of things. This is when they're kind of going. Is this it, Rob?
The clip of Hunter being asked if his father wasn't president.
Can you play this clip?
Yeah.
Okay, if you go for it.
If not more.
In the list that you gave me of the reasons why you're on that board, you did not list the fact that you were the son of the vice president.
Of course, yeah. No.
What role do you think that played?
I think that it is impossible for me to be on any of the boards that I just mentioned without saying that I'm the son of the Vice President of the United States.
You were paid $50,000 a month for your position?
Look, I'm a private citizen. One thing that I don't have to do is sit here and open my kimono as it relates to how much money I make or did or didn't. But it's all been reported.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life.
At least he is,
if my last name wasn't Biden.
Part of it where he's like,
It's like whatever, but he doesn't want to talk about it.
This is a very, you seem very reasonable. You seem very resolved in the way you've made your decisions. You seem like you're at peace right now yourself, but you seem to have, you seem to understand Hunter's pain. And if I was somebody that's watching this, I would say you're putting a little bit more of the responsibility on the father. I may be wrong, but that's the feeling I'm getting. Am I off?
Putting more responsibility
of his pain on his father.
No, I think it comes from everything. You know, that's not, like the tragedies and everything that he's gone through, losing Bo, and then the picture that I brought up. You asked about how I felt about that, not that situation, but how Joe handled or whatever, and I didn't understand. But I know that Hunter always, he talked very highly of. There's a story in the book, and about I think the chapter is like he meant well, and even though he battled addiction, he went out of his way to try to do good things for people. And like one night we're on the train to New York City, and there's an elderly lady sitting in front of us. Like, first, I'm probably way too old to be traveling alone, especially at nighttime. It was like the one of the last trains out that night. And she sees us, and he's looking up like rental houses and stuff on his laptop, and we're looking at them. And he loved the colonial style houses, and so we were looking at them and sharing pictures and just talking and giving advice. And she turned around, asked what time it was, and kind of a couple times when we would go back and forth, she would turn around and laugh at us. And she asked what time it was, and so Hunter engages in conversation with her, and he's like, what are you doing on a train this late? And you don't have a phone? You don't? She said, no. She said, my nephew, with whom I've raised, is dying of the same form of cancer that Bo had.
Oh, wow. And
she said, she didn't say that. She called it by name, but it's a, I don't know the exact name of it. And she said, and I'm going to see him. And the family, she said, I don't have a phone. The family, she had somebody that was going to pick her up at this train stop at the stoplight, outside the train stoplight in like Newark, New Jersey. And Hunter instantly, I knew as soon as she said that, he instantly gets up, he walks past me, he goes and he sits with this lady, he hugs her, he talks to her, he has that empathy for her. And he talks about, the things that his brother struggled with during that, going through, that process. And he felt her pain.
Yeah.
And he meant well. Because he says, you know what? I'm going to get your stuff, and I'll take you to that stop myself. I'll make sure you get to your family and blah, blah, blah. And I just sit there, and he gets to the stop. Hunter gets her. He gathers her things. He says, I'll be right back. I said, okay. and he takes her to the stop, and then the train takes off, and I'm thinking, oh God, he didn't make it back. Well, he's running from like the front of the train. He makes it. He sits down, he's out of breath, and they come over the loudspeaker and they say, next stop, Newark, New Jersey. And he's like, and he looks at me, and I lost it. I started laughing. I said, oh, you just put that old lady out on the wrong stoplight.
So
he's like,
funny.
Oh my
So
God,
messed
he
up.
freaks out.
So messed up. Nobody's ever heard from her again.
No, he freaks
She's
out.
gone.
He runs to the front. He's like, we've got to stop this train. We got to turn around. Like, I have put an old lady at a stoplight. I've got to
my
go back
God.
and get her. And they're like, we can't stop the train. Like, we're sorry. He gets off on the next stop, goes back and gets this woman. And instead of us, like, we were going to go out to have a late dinner, maybe go out and do some things and come back. Instead, all of that is postponed. And I have to go to this loft that we're staying at by myself. He goes, takes care of this woman, puts her on the right stop. And mind, it's December. It was like snowing in New York. And then finally at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, there's a knock on the door. And it's Hunter, and he's in his T-shirt. He also had given his jacket on the way back.
To her.
He had given his jacket to a homeless man because he was cold. His cell phone was in it. Bo's dog tags were in it. And his wallet was in it. And he's just like, can't get it together. Well, I'm laughing because I think it's funny. And he's like, you need to call my phone. I said, well, honey, I've been trying to call your phone for the last 3 hours. And that homeless man hasn't answered me yet, so he's not going to answer. But he did answer. And eventually, like throughout the night. And then the next day, we get Bo's dog tags back and the phone, whatnot. Hunter even tells him, says, if you bring it to me, you can keep the phone, you can keep the wallet. I want my brother's dog tags. And he does. He gets them back.
That family forgets stuff all the time. Like, they forget stuff at the repair shops. But Pat, if you don't mind, so you said earlier about reading a little bit of the journal. You kind of opened accidentally and you read it. And I don't know, I don't want to find out what he wrote in it. That's all on you. But it seems to me from a father's point of view, we're talking about the father, and I get the trauma that Hunter went through, and I can only imagine. I lost my dad, but I was 18, 19 years old. But losing a parent that young, losing a sister, going through all that, and obviously something with the father. He's getting sworn in at the thing. Ashley Biden, who was born obviously later on, I don't know if you paid attention. Her diary was recently come out to be factual. She left. I was trying to be funny, but it's true. They forget stuff everywhere. She left a diary at a friend's house, kind of like a renting out Airbnb, whatever. It was found, and it's been public now. And Ashley writes in there a bunch of crazy stuff from her childhood, over-sexualized, having this, having that. And she wrote this is in her diary, her words, that she showered with her father probably at inappropriate ages. So I kind of see. I see a trend that's happening, and it kind of is going back to the trauma, and also with the father. I don't know if did you see any of that? Because it's a fact.
I've heard some stuff about that, but no, I don't, because I don't ever know like what's factual, what isn't, what's just being thrown out there, what's being said. So I've heard something about that, but no, not the details.
So you reading his journal, what you were reading, was it current problems that he was going through, or was this like past history? Old school, like I don't know where you opened up.
I'll tell you, it was 97.
Oh wow! Oh crap! So this is old school.
Yeah, he just wrote in there like some story, his thoughts on things, and his at the time I can't remember exactly where it says that he was working at like as a lobbyist or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy in life, and so there was a lot of sad stories. He just wasn't happy with himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed this. I had no idea. I mean, I thought this was going to be a 45-minute to an hour interview.
How long have we been in here?
This is going to be an hour and a half interview. But I've actually really enjoyed listening to your story, your experience, and to the average listener. Would you say your family, you said earlier, they're more conservative, right? Your family.
Some. I have
both.
Yeah, they go both. We don't discuss politics
in your family.
Yeah, because it's just
Yeah, we made we made it at this company. If there's one thing we never discuss, it's politics.
Ever.
We don't like it.
The fact that she said Trump, we all were like,
we don't
here
like to go
again.
there because it makes all of us very uncomfortable. But we made an exception today just for you, so it's a very special moment. Rob, can we make sure to put this book all over the place?
Thank you.
And I'm going to make the intro, and I'm going to make sure we support the book as well to be read, because it's a direct experience from someone that is sharing with the world things that we haven't directly had. All we do is we read and we see stuff. And also at the same time, I'd love to, I would applaud the president for him to reach out to want to meet his beautiful, I mean, she is beautiful,
Thank you.
Granddaughter, which, by the way, looks like the best of you and him, but you see her
eyes.
father in her. You know, if you're the grandfather and that's what your granddaughter looks like, all you have to do is, we're sending a plane, come to the White House. We'd love to spend a couple hours with them, or Delaware, and then boom, send you back home. It's not going to be a big expense. And I think it would be very honorable to all grandfathers to see that even though this is a little bit embarrassing to the family, this events like this one get somebody to say, you know what, we got to move past this. You got to give him credit. He reached out, he did that, and now, you know, Navy can forever say, because the president may not have a long time to live, she'll always be able to say, I met my grandfather. And I think that's going to mean a lot to her for many, many years to come. I applaud you. I appreciate you for coming out.
Well, thank you.
This was fantastic. Thank you so much, gang. Please go support her and order the book. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.